But Gold Drake. I was a Drake. Well, actually, I was a rock.
Okay. Shalom, everybody. I hope everybody's having a Tawab Shabbat. It's seasons. The seasons are changing. We're trying to make the adjustments here. isbhpk San Antonio. Shout out isbhpk Houston, isbhpk Rochester, and isbhpk Virginia. Shalom Kawakab out there in Guatemala, teaching, getting the word out to the brothers and sisters that he's responsible for. Today we're going to be going over still more of the stories about the kings and specifically Ahab and Elijah and the things that they were going through.
And this is referred to as the heart of Hebrew history, right? Well, as far as you're dealing with the topic where we have our own state.
Well, we have our own state, but we're crazy.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a climax of all of the negativity that we've been festering since Jeroboam. This is dealing with the northern kingdom affairs today.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is get our prayers up. Shalom, everybody that's reaching in. It's good to see everybody. Last week I was kind of under the weather, so slack for me not being here on Saturday and Monday. But we're back rolling. And let's get it started. Let's send our prayers up. Okay. Roger. Rakta Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Rakta Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Hawa Nathan Award. Zayawam. Tawada.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see this day. Thanks, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Rakta Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Rakta Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Hawa Nathan Rayach. Nayachadcha. Tawada.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us sweet savor. Thank you, so be it.
Imagine Wapanya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
One. Let's look at the numbers. 5A. Okay. Barakatah Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Hawa Nathan Lanawa. Hashabbat. Shalom. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Okay. Psalms 121. Anasha, Ayanyamya, Haharya, Ma'aya, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Ma, Yahweh, Sha'aisha, Shemaiah, Wa'aratiza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamoya, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yasham, Shashawamar, Yashra, Yahweh, Shemara, Yahweh, Cesaria, Ayo, Yanyamya, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemara, Makol, Right, Yashemar, Pasha, Yahweh, Yashemar, Kabalakia, Wabu'aya, Ma'aitha, I will
Aman. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, which from which comes my help. My help comes from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. It says, I'm sorry about this. Heaven and earth. Don't give me. Yeah, I'm looking at the other one. That was miswritten. It says, my help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord thy sit upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. As you like credo. Shema Yashala,
Shema Yashala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Echad.
Echad.
Shema Yashala,
Shema Yashala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Echad.
Echad.
Shema Yashala,
Shema Yashala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Eloheinu,
Eloheinu,
Yahweh, Echad.
Echad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power is one.
Lord's Prayer. Abinawah,
Abinawah,
Shabbat Shemaya,
Shabbat Shemaya,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Hayat,
Hayat,
Shemka,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malak Wavka,
Malak Wavka,
Taba'ah,
Taba'ah,
Ratazaka,
Ratazaka,
Hayat,
Hayat,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Barataza,
Kawa,
Kawa,
Hayat,
Hayat,
Bashemaya,
Bashemaya,
Nathalanawa,
Nathalanawa,
Lachom,
Lachom,
Kol,
Kol,
Yawam,
Yawam,
Wasalachanawa,
Wasalachanawa,
Chawatinawa,
Chawatinawa,
Kasalachanawa,
Kasalachanawa,
Chawatinawa,
Chawatinawa,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Tabiyanawa,
Tabiyanawa,
Banasaiwan,
Banasaiwan,
Abo,
Abo,
Hawashanawa,
Hawashanawa,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Right,
Right,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Hamalakwa,
Waha'ala,
Waha'ala,
Wahathapa
Wahathapa
Aram,
Aram,
Wa'ala
Alam,
Amen.
Amen.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this daily bread, our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen.
Ten Commandments. La'ayahaya,
La'ayahaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Achaya,
Achaya,
Ayo,
Ayo,
Hanya.
Panya.
Thou shalt know the powers before me.
Number 2. La'ah,
La'ah,
Ta'ayna,
Ta'ayna,
Laka,
Laka,
Pasor,
Pasor,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Ta'ayvana.
Ta'ayvana.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'ah,
La'ah,
Talach Wacha,
Talach Wacha,
Sham,
Sham,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Vashawah.
Bashawah,
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
4. Zakar,
Zakar,
Hayawam,
Hayawam,
Hashabbat,
Hashabbat,
Lakodashwa.
Lakodashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad,
Kabad,
Abaka,
Abaka,
Ya'amaka.
Ya'amaka,
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'ah,
La'ah,
Tharataza.
Tharataza,
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
7. La'ah,
La'ah,
Thana'ah,
Tana'ah,
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
rape. La'ah,
La'ah,
Thaganah.
Taganah,
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'ah,
La'ah,
Ta'ayna,
Ta'ayna,
Shakur.
Thou
Shakur,
shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'ah,
La'ah,
Thachamat,
Thachamat,
Kor,
Kor,
Asherah,
Asherah,
La'ra'aika.
La'ra'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's. Yes, thanks, bro.
It's the stuff under it is making us the problem. Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai.
Barak Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai.
Hahawah.
Nathalanawa.
Hathamarah.
Hathamarah.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
Yashmatah. I'm sorry. Yeshavyim.
Take seats. It's good to be back. It's good to be back with y'all this week.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now. Last week, Sham Shawan and Dawiyat went through dealing with Ba'asha, and if I'm not mistaken, Ba'asha, he was Issachar, and he sat back here and killed Nabat, which was Jeroboam's son, and he was the one that started changing the throne from the family succession of Jeroboam's lineage. And what you're going to see is, now that Ba'asha dies, the throne at this particular point is constantly in flux, and there's no true stable leader of the nation of the northern kingdom. And you're going to start seeing different military generals and different people posturing and fighting for the throne, very much like in the Roman Empire times. After Nero and in the last few, I guess, of the first generation of Roman emperors, there was a bunch of military leaders that took over the throne. Whoever had the strongest command of the military kept the throne in Rome. And the same thing is happening at this particular point after Baasha dies. Or actually, the killing of Nabat by Baasha was kind of how this cutthroat, herky-jerky thing kind of started situating in Israel. What you going to say, Delia?
Oh, I was just saying that this is it's just different factions amongst the 10 tribes, right?
Yes, this is all about the 9.5 tribes and the chaos and the turmoil that was happening because nobody took the stand to serve the Most High and to defend and the preserving of the laws and commandments of Heavenly Father. Because that happened, it was a free-for-all in a leadership position. Okay? So, first chapter we're going to go into is 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 5 through 27. Let's go, Karai. Step up. I'm sorry. Shoot. Yes.
Kariah, Shashabata, Banashar, Banyasha'ala.
Kariah, Shashabata, Banashar, Banyasha'ala. And Major. What? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua
Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shabrakathum.
Right. Alright, so let's do 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 5 through 27.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 5. Now, the rest of the acts of Baasha and what he did and his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Mm-hmm.
So Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son reigned in his stead. And also by the hand of the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, came the word of the Most High against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of the Most High, in provoking him to anger with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him.
So Jehu, the son of Hanani, obviously came in and prophesied against Baasha and prophesied the downfall of his kingdom. And pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, told Baasha the same way you took out Jeroboam was how you're going to be taken out. The same form of treachery. The same form of just these coups that came in to take out Jeroboam was going to be the same way you got taken out.
As a man soweth,
That's
so
how
shall
he
he
reaped
reap.
it. Exactly. That goes for the positive or the negative. So now let's keep going.
Come. In the 20th and 6th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Elah the son of Baasha to reign over Israel in Tirzah 2 years.
So obviously, Asa, king of Judah, is still in power as all these fluctuations of kings are happening in the northern kingdom. So Elah now is the son of Baasha, and he was in power for only 2 years. You're seeing these reigns are short like leprechauns.
Yeah.
They're not lasting very long. Let's keep going.
And his servant Zimri, captain of half his chariots.
So that means Zimri was his servant, but he was also captain of his military. He was leader in his military as well as his servant. Read on.
Conspired against him as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, steward of his house in Tirzah.
I guess there's only one way to drink yourself out. You're supposed to drink yourself drunk out. So listen, I'm drinking to get drunk.
He's drinking.
He's drinking to get drunk, and this is what's happening. So Eli is drinking himself drunk, and Zimri says this is a great time to catch him slipping. And since I'm in charge of half of the chariots, that means half of his forces, half of his men, half of his military, I'm the captain over him.
He was indulging, huh?
Oh, so you know what? This guy every certain time of the day he's getting drunk at this time. We can catch him slipping.
Get blasted out.
Exactly. But let's keep going.
And Zimri went in and smote him.
He did him in himself. Read on.
And killed him in the 20th and 7th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead.
So there was no honor. This is what happens when there's no law. When there's no law, when there's no scriptures, when there's nothing to tether you to righteousness' sake, there's no honor among thieves at this point. Listen, beyond the fact that we're supposed to serve the law, Most High, and we're supposed to follow the law because that was the commandment. Without that stability, without that tethering people to doing right, then what's keeping anybody from being moral?
Exactly.
Right. There's nothing keeping these people from being moral. Why have respect? Now it's a damn jungle out there.
There's no order.
It's survival of the fittest. Zimri had the military, he had the leverage. Now we're in Rome now. Huh?
And it's crazy. As Job said, chapter 20, verse 5, it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short. So these people's success, all their labor for success to get what they want, according to Scripture, is going to be a very short period. Because
the Most High is all about how you get to the top, how you get the things you want in your life. It's not about the getting it; it's how you got it. If you took shortcuts to get what you wanted, then you're going to get exposed and you won't be in power for long periods of time, because it's not about giving shortcuts to anybody.
So you're saying the Most High is judging us the same way He would judge them.
No doubt about it.
It's not like He's a different power, a different God, a different time period. If we don't do things according to the proper channels, the proper order, and proper directives, then our successes will be short-lived.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if the nation as a whole wasn't living by the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, then all of a sudden all bets are off on all levels of morality.
Yeah.
Who was keeping these people tethered? What was keeping this man Zimri from saying, you know what, man, this isn't right? This man was the rightful leader. Let him run his course. They weren't in the middle of wartime. What was the justification for Zimri to sit back here and kill him while he was drinking? What was the purpose? They were just sitting back here and establishing morality by just friendship terms and by just basic connection. There was no honor, there was no law, there was no scriptures here involved.
Would that be code of the street?
Yeah, it was code of the street, yeah. Obviously, Eli showed a whole lot of weakness, to the point where Zimri said, I can do it better. And he's opening these doors for me to sit back and take it. So once again, this is the theme of what's happening. And as you're about to see, even as we get to King Ahab and Elijah, the morals and the standards continue to just erode. Jeroboam was horrible. But then they said the men after him was even worse than that. Baasha was worse than that. The leadership just keeps eroding. And it's just less and less morality and honor in the northern kingdom at the time. Let's keep going.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, when he began to reign, as soon as he sat on his throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha. He left them not one that pisseth against a wall.
That means he took out all the men. All the men of Baasha got taken out. Because you know what? They had to eliminate every heir to the throne possible.
So he had to do it right in the negative.
Yes.
You had to commit to doing it right.
Because what you're going to do is you have to make sure nobody can come up here and say, I have a proper claim to the throne. I'm justified to take this position. You have to eliminate that issue. So this is what he's doing. Okay? Read on.
Neither of his kinfolks, nor of his friends, does this Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Most High, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they sinned, and by which they made Israel to sin, in provoking the Most High power of Israel to anger with their vanity.
So it goes back into the same thing the Most High said. Baasha and Elah had to die because of their actions, and how their actions affected the people.
Yeah.
And this is the reminder that when you're in a position of leadership, the Most High is not just looking at your decisions, but He's looking at how your decisions affect other people and how your decisions weaken other people. Okay, and because their works weren't honored towards the Most High, and how they pushed the nation to pursue vanities, to pursue pursuits that wouldn't end up developing their spirit, they had to die, and their entire family lineage had to die, just like Jeroboam's lineage had to die. And they said the same thing about everybody that pisses on the wall of Jeroboam had to die. And they said the one son that he kind of liked, he killed him off with sickness, versus getting killed in the streets and dying on the streets and having animals eat their corpse. He was just showing you the extremities of these leaders and how all of them have to fall over time. But let's keep going.
Verse 14. Now the rest of the acts of Eli and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Probably so, but it wasn't nothing they did right, so it wasn't nothing noteworthy to be put in the scriptures.
I got to pull one scripture right here. It says, Psalms 50 verse 22. Now consider this, ye that forget the Most High.
Make sure everybody gets it real quick. Psalms 50,
58
or 50 and 22, right?
50 and 22.
50, okay.
And then Job 8 and 13.
50 and 22.
It's just this is the Most High's judgment. How he looks
Psalms
at things.
50, you said Psalms 50
And 22.
22.
Yeah.
You said it that way. You said it that way. I'm just repeating it like you said it that. Psalms 50 and 22.
And Job 8 and 13. All right.
20, 22. Like the count. 1, 2, 3, 22. I'm sorry. Let's keep going, man. It's early, man. It's early, y'all. Give me a break, man. It's cold outside. Read that, man.
Psalms chapter 50 and verse 22. Now consider this.
Consider this. This is the problem with men that get filled with ambition. Men that get filled with ambition and lust and object of passion, right? They forget to consider the Most High. They consider the object of passion, right? Read on.
Ye that forget the Most High.
Men get drunk with their ambition and drunk with their desires, and that drunk nature causes them to forget consciousness of the Father. Read.
Lest I tear you in pieces.
But I'm going to tear you in pieces. The Most High means I'm going to tear you up. I'm going to rip you up. I'm going to literally deal with you like that. Read.
It says, and there be none to deliver.
And there's no remedy. There's no remedy because this man chose to forget the Father. He had all the security he had, all the different spies he had, all the protection he had, all the weapons he had. It didn't matter because the Most High determined to tear him to pieces, to destroy him, because he didn't consider the Most High's orders. Now let's go to Job 8 and 13.
Job 8 and 13. So are the paths of all that forget the Most High.
So this is the path of men that forget the Most High.
What verse that again? I want to make sure.
Job 8 and 13.
Job 8 and 13. Job 8 and 13. These are the dynamics of men that forget the Most High in positions of power. In this positions period in life. He said, read.
So are the paths of all that forget the Most High.
This is the path of all that do what?
That forget the Most High.
Don't make the Most High their primary focus. Everything's more important. Their ambition, their will, their drive, their position, their desire. Read.
And the hypocrite's hope shall perish.
And the hypocrite's hope shall perish. Listen, you're checking this guy for being out of order and doing it wrong, and then you get in the seat of authority and you do it wrong too.
Don't forget, the hypocrite just means a person's words don't match their power.
God.
A person's actions, or their words don't match their actions.
God.
There's inconsistencies in the strength of their actions. It's not the actions, the strength of their actions. So we got that so far, right? You got any more?
That's it, bro.
Okay, let's go back to before we go back to the scriptures, I do want to jump to Josephus real quick. I don't want to jump through too many stories about too many different people before we talk about whether it's Baasha's son, Eli. Let's go over that. So we're going to go to Josephus, book 8, chapter 12, paragraph 4.5. It's the middle of 4, or towards the end. And we're going to read 4 and 5. The middle of 4 and 5. Josephus, book 8, chapter 12, paragraph middle, like 4.5, where it says,
So he gladly.
and Elah, his son, took the kingdom. That's closer down. It's really not in the middle. It's kind of towards the end. Because we already went through Baasha last
Okay,
week.
yeah, I see. And Eli took his son?
Yes.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, read that.
Okay. It says, and Elah, his son, took the kingdom, who, when he had reigned 2 years, died, being treacherously slain by Zimri, the captain of half his army. For when he was at Arza, his steward's house, he persuaded some of the horsemen that were under him to assault Elah, and by that means he slew him when he was without his armed men and his captains, for they were all busy in the siege of Gibbethon, a city of the Philistines.
So that makes more sense now. So he says his men, the other half of his men, were fighting in a siege of the Philistines. So the position of the men that were under, what's his name, Zimri, he just kept them back. His other half were fighting in the war. This guy gets exposed. Okay? Another thing is, why wasn't he fighting? The leaders at that time were fighters. He wasn't either. He wasn't. So he got caught slipping. Read on.
He should have been in the battle.
You should have been a cop, huh? I'm sorry. I'm bringing too many old songs and lyrics up. Continue out.
Paragraph 5. When Zimri, the captain of the army, had killed Elah, he took the kingdom himself, and according to Jehu's prophecy, slew all the house of Baasha. For it came to pass that Baasha's house utterly perished on account of his impiety, in the same manner as we have already described the destruction of the house of Jeroboam.
And obviously, in the eyes of the Most High, losing your entire family line is the greatest disgrace you can have in your life. In the eyes of the Most High, maybe not Jake, but in the Most High's eyes, losing your family line, dying, is a disgrace. Read on.
But the army that was besieging Gibbethon, when they heard what had befallen the king, and that when Zimri had killed him, he had gained the kingdom, they made Omri their general king, who drew off his army from Gibbethon and came to Tirzah.
So now we have warring factions of generals. Zimri sat back here and had Elah killed. But when they were fighting in the land of the Philistines, those men decided to make Omri their king, which was obviously the leader of the other half of the army. So now you got Roman town going on here. You got Roman legionnaire fighting, chaos going on, where you have one faction of army that's backed by one man, another faction of army backed by another man. This is what was happening with Septimius Severus and Persinius Niger, and these other generals that were fighting for power in Rome back in the day. Okay, so it was Team Zimri, it was Team Omri, and half the king was split on one side, the other half was on the other side. Okay, read on.
Where the royal palace was, and assaulted the city and took it by force.
So now Omri came down with his men and went to it says Tisra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tisra was where Baasha had set to be the royal city. So they go to Tisra, and they go to war. Okay, read on.
But when Zimri saw that the city had none to defend it, he fled into the inmost part of the palace and set it on fire and burnt himself with it.
That's crazy, bro. This is chaos, huh? Yes. You gotta make sure. It says Omri and them came up to Tisra. Omri was the group of men that were fighting in the Philistines' land. Mm-hmm. They came up to Tisra, which is the capital city, to go besiege the capital city. Because you had half the men were on one side, half was on the other. But obviously, Zimri, who took out Baasha's son, wasn't prepared for a blowback. He didn't think these other guys were going to come back to war. So when he found out, hey, these guys are here ready to fight and kill, I'm not prepared. I have nobody to defend this city. I'm just going to hide myself at the end of the palace and just off myself.
Before they get to him.
Yeah. Why don't you just take a sword? You're going to burn yourself alive. Like, I'm dead.
But these were extreme
It's
men.
crazy.
It is crazy.
Burn myself alive?
Man,
There's a lot of different ways to go out than that, bro.
Better than that. That's
bad, bro.
God, it is, yeah.
It's a hell of a day.
So that's a bad day in Jewtown, huh?
God.
Wicked Jewtown, huh? So let's go back to, it says, but when Zimri.
It says, but when Zimri saw that the city had none to defend it, he fled into the inmost parts of the palace and set it on fire and burned himself with
It's
it.
crazy. Yeah.
When he had reigned only 7 days.
That's lame, bro. This is this crazy town, huh?
Only in it for a week.
He had a little wine, he had a little sip of wine,
Wow.
he was able to Scrooge McDuck in the gold area a little bit, and chill, have a little fun, and that was it. Read on.
It says, when he had reigned 7 days, upon which the people of Israel were presently divided, and part of them would have Timni to be king, and part Omri.
So now there's another guy in the midst. Tibni, the other one was Omri. Read on.
But when those that were for Omri's ruling had beaten Timni,
So listen, whoever was rolling with Omri was gangsta. He was kicking everybody's ass. He kicked Timni's ass too. They beat him to submission. Read on.
Omri reigned over all the multitude. Now it was in the 30th year of the reign of Asa that Omri reigned for 12 years.
Okay, Omri reigned for 12 years. Read on.
6 of these years he reigned in the city of Tirzah, and the rest in the city called Samarim. Yes, Samarim. But named by the Greeks Samaria.
Samaria ended up being the capital city, the synonymous capital city of the northern kingdom shortly after that. Okay, so Samaria. Read on.
But he himself called the Samarian from Samir, who sold him the mountain whereon he built it. Now Omri was no way different from those kings that reigned before him, but that he grew worse than they.
You see how they keep getting worse and worse and worse. Because if you're building a foundation on corruptness, if the foundation is corruptness, then you have to be more corrupt than the next king to sustain your power and your authority. More ruthless, more corrupt, more backbiting in order to sustain what you're building. Right? Read on.
But they all sought how they might turn the people away from the Most High by their daily wicked practices.
So he says
Their daily wicked
how
practices.
they were getting wicked. How they were wicked was how proactive they were in getting the people to get wicked. Because I think from what we're seeing, if you're dealing with a power struggle, obviously Omri was in struggle with other people to get people on their side. We read earlier that it was Omri and it was Tisra. Was it Tisra? No, it was Zimri. It was Tisra was the capital city. It was Zimri. Then it was this Tibni.
Yeah.
And people were siding with those guys. So if you got this guy Omri, he's trying to do these wicked practices to feed into the people, to get to win the people. So obviously he understood that in order to secure his position, you had to feed the flesh more. You had to sit back here and do some more wicked practices. This is why he says this is how every king was worse from one generation to another. Because they were pushing the people to do more corruptness. But in the pushing of them to do that, they were really sitting back here and trying to win them. Because that's how you won Jake people.
Just like politics.
Give Jake more freedom to do more negative.
More liberty.
And to do more wicked practice, obviously, the Most High is not going to go into the specifics about the wicked practices. But whatever wicked practices they were, the people were getting something out the deal. And they were bribing the people by giving them something in the flesh.
For their backing.
For their backing. But that's what the wicked practices were. They were getting something for this. Okay? Don't forget, when you're reading Jeremiah, when you're reading Jeremiah,
this time it's spun completely out of control. The structure of the nation is like, forget it.
And if anybody can get it for me right now, I don't have it on top of my head, but in Jeremiah it talked about how when the prophet was telling the people about changing and stopping following their gods, the people were telling Jeremiah, how are my crops going to grow if I stop serving these gods?
Right.
So they in their heads, they were getting something from the idolatry. There was something that they were receiving for doing these wicked, injurious practices against the Heavenly Father. And if they were getting something out the deal, this was the incentive to keep pushing the wicked practices amongst the people. The people would get these things, would get certain things, and in return, I'd get their vote. I'd get their backing, which means I'd get their protection. Because that's what you're buying. You're buying protection. How can I stay in power for as long as I can? I got to give gifts.
Yep.
I got to compromise. I got to give people what they want so that they side with me. It's either two ways you can stay in power. Give people what they want, push people to as many wicked and injurious practices as possible, or make a life and push servitude and discipline and commitment. And if that's not how any of the kingdoms establish their reign, they're going to follow suit and push the wicked process, the wicked path. So, with that being the case, this is what's happening. So read on.
Come. It says,
now Omri was no way different.
Come. It says, now Omri was no way different from those kings that reigned before him, but that he grew worse than they. For they all sought how they might turn the people away from the Most High by their daily wicked practices.
Now, once again, we explain how these daily wicked practices, in one form or another, was a benefit to the people in the flesh. And that was how they gained votes. That's how they gained backing. Okay? You got to understand, Omri had no birthright to the kingdom. So he had to sit back here and sustain his position by being more wicked. He wasn't rightful king. Read on.
And on that account, it was that the Most High made one of them to be slain by another, and that no one person of their families should remain. This Omri also died at Samaria, and Ahab, his son, succeeded him.
Ahab. Now Ahab comes into power after his father, and this is when things turn up. So it's just showing whether it's from Baasha, his son Eli, all the way to Omri and Ahab. It's just a fun. Well, Ahab is in power for a long time, but these other men, it was just one person dies, another person reigns, military captain comes in, another military captain comes in. It's just nothing but chaos in the nation at the time. And let's get back to 1 Kings chapter 16, verse
15.
Is it 15? Yes, it is verse 15.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, did Zimri reign 7 days in Tirzah, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that were encamped heard say, Zimri hath conspired, and hath also slain the king. Wherefore all Israel made Omri, the captain of the host, king over Israel that day in the camp. And Omri went up from Gibbethon, and all Israel with him, and they besieged Tirzah. And it came to pass, when Zimri saw that the city was taken, that he went into the palace of the king's house, and burnt the king's house over him with fire, and died, for his sins which he sinned in doing evil in the sight of the Most High, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and his sin which he did to make Israel to sin. Now the rest of the acts of Zimri and his treason that he wrought, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?
This is another reminder that there are so many more books about our history.
Kings of Israel, right?
Mm-hmm. that have been lost over time. Okay, there's a lot of books that have been lost. In Chronicles, it really doesn't go into Zimri and these guys at all, to be honest with you. So it's different chronicles that different scribes wrote about the history of Israel that we don't have access to.
Like Gad the seer.
Prophet Nathan, Gad, all the prophets and prophets and scribes, they've written down many and many books about our history that we just don't have access to. That's why in Corinthians it says we know in part and we prophesy in part.
True.
Okay, there's limits to what we have access to, so there's limits to our knowledge.
And maybe on purpose too.
Oh hell yeah! Your knowledge puffs up. You can't tell Israel nothing now.
I know.
with 66 books,
Yeah.
you can't tell them nothing. Anyway, let's continue.
Verse 21. Then were the people of Israel divided into two parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ginath, to make him king, and half followed Omri. But the people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Tibni, the son of Ginath. So Tibni died, and Omri reigned. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel. 12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tirzah. And he bought the hill Samaria of Shamir for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shamir, owner of the hill, Samaria. But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Most High, and did worse than all that were before him. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin, to provoke the Most High power of Israel to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omri, which he did, and his might that he shewed, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel?
Okay, we're going to hold this, and we're going to read the last paragraph in the Josephus. It's book 8, chapter 12, paragraph 6.
Come.
Then we're going to phase into Elijah and Ahab. Read that.
Come. Now by these events we may learn what concern the Most High hath for the affairs of mankind, and how he loves good men, and hates the wicked, and destroys them root and branch.
He destroys wicked men root and branch. He destroys them to the root. Because what he's saying is, if there's wickedness in men, it's gonna push down to the seed, to the children. That's why in Ecclesiastes it says that which is crooked cannot be what?
Made straight.
Yeah.
Okay? So he destroys wicked men from root to branch. And to be specific, he allows men to run his course, and he wipes them out. After they're done playing their role. Read on.
For many of these kings of Israel, they and their families were miserably destroyed and taken away one by another.
But none of them considered the Most High.
Yep.
None of them made it about the Spirit. It was all about bribing and feeding the flesh and feeding different demographics that were into different idols.
And just dominance and whatever it took to sit back here and stay in power. That's all that mattered. Read on.
In a short time for their transgression and wickedness. But Asa, who was king of Jerusalem and of the 2 tribes, attained by the Most High's blessing a long and blessed old age for his piety and righteousness, and died happily, when he had reigned 41 years. And when he was dead, his son Jehoshaphat succeeded him in the government. He was born of Asa's wife, Azubah, and all men allowed that he followed the works of David, his forefather, and this both in courage and piety. But we are not obliged now to speak any more of the affairs of this king.
So what's happening is he's saying, I guess sequentially, it's important that we explain Ahab and eventually Elijah. Then we'll get into Jehoshaphat after that. Okay, so we're going to deal with the 9.5 tribes and their wacky scenario. Then we'll see how the 9.5 and the south end up coming together at a certain point to fight the Sumerians. Yeah, but that's later on. We're going to deal with them. We're going to deal with Jezebel, Ahab, and Elijah next, and then we'll go into Jehoshaphat later. So let's go now to 1 Kings 16, 28 through
34.
No. 28 through 34. Yeah. There you go, sir.
All right. 1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 28. So Omri slept with his fathers and buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab the son of Omri to reign over Israel. And Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Most High above all that were before him.
Now it's getting even worse, and we're going to explain how Ahab's evil was even worse. Because what you're going to see is, from the time of Jeroboam all the way to Ahab's father Omri, they were teaching wickedness. They were having the high places, which was full of idolatry and so forth and so on. But what made Ahab so bad was that he was forcing people to do it. There was an enforcing of the following of these wicked paths. We're going to read into this very soon. This is what made it even worse. Now the people had no choice but to sit back and follow these wicked practices.
And it sounds like modern day times, where you have the next generation in their youth being influenced by
the 5-letter word movement. I don't know, but
it's
at least a 5-letter word movement.
They keep going.
Then there's other letters, elemental P's.
Yeah, they're extending it and they don't tell you what it means. Put a plus sign, but they got other levels and other degrees.
So it's a 5. We're gonna say the 5-letter plus movement.
Yeah, so
and it's I'm sorry.
They're forcing these. They're forcing them to read books that have, I can't say the words online because it's foul words.
Yes.
But they're self-stimulation. How about that? They're forcing them to read about self-stimulation, and these are children books about self-stimulation. In the elementary school books, they're comic books. They're making it kid-friendly. So they're going to school and they have to read these and do projects on these pieces of information. And they're writing poetry, like this book called Poet X, something like that. So it pushes the concept of the militancy / human rights, civil rights concept, and then there's poetry about self-stimulation. And
then what I remember back when my sons were in school, it was the way the schools were went. If you talked about, if you made a joke about certain people that wrote a certain way, you'd get in trouble. You'd possibly get expelled.
Yeah.
Now it's to the point where they're so bold, they're really pushing their influence on your kids now. Now that they're allowed to just operate how they want to operate, now their boldness is even greater. And now they're pushing their way on people that don't even want to be that way.
Yeah, the teachers.
It's getting worse. It's just showing you, back when I was a young person, if you saw a dude playing tetherball, he was clowned. I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, I ain't in high school, like middle school, elementary, when you saw a cat in the tetherball on the tetherball court side,
like what is his guy doing?
This guy's whack. He's doing
and getting good at it too.
And he slapped like this. If he was on a tetherball court, you knew it was a damn problem with this dude.
You know where he stood.
And you know where he stood. And I knew a lot of cats in tetherball court, and they ended up turning into the people you thought they was going to turn into.
They were mistaken.
I'm not even going to lie to you. You can tell on Facebook, like, That was the tetherball guy.
Yeah.
I know. I always knew it. I always knew it.
Team tetherball.
I can tell by how he was hitting the ball. there was some issues there.
Yeah.
But that was how it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then you sit back here, and then like in the early 2000s, on a team like 2015, 2013, you couldn't say anything. You got to let people let them be.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's not even about letting them be. They're flexing.
Yeah.
They're pushing. They're flexing their way
I thought it
now.
was about
Now
not
they're
doing it.
bold and they're in your face.
Yeah.
And it's not just about tolerance. You gotta bend to how we're doing things. You gotta get down how we're getting down. That is showing you how wickedness grows.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
God.
Initially, if I'm living this way and we know it's spiritually foul, they have to stay in the corners. Then tolerance comes next.
Yep.
And then once tolerance comes, then this is a damn movement. You gonna get down or what?
Or lay down.
Lay down.
This is predatory because this is an issue.
But sin is predatory.
Yeah.
That's the point. Sin is predatory. It's not just, okay, I want to live this life, I'll respect your space. They're rolling on people.
That's crazy.
That ain't operating in that same vein.
Yeah.
There's an over-aggression, just like it was in the opposite end when it was about being morally on point.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're feigning as if we just want to be accepted. We're feigning this.
Well, it starts with the acceptance.
Yeah.
Then it turns into we're gonna steamroll through anybody
Aggressive.
who doesn't support it. Because that's the thing. If you don't support it, if you're not 100% backing it, you're negative. You're anti.
You're a scapegoat.
Or we're gonna sit back and attack you because you're not 100% condoning it.
That's what
And you're not backing. What's that?
I was gonna say that's what they're starting to do with the letter people now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't even be straight no more.
That's what we're saying. It's not cool to sit back here and just stick to your lane. You have to sit back and outwardly support, outwardly back it, and eventually they're gonna want you to dabble in there. They're gonna want you to touch, be a switch hitter soon.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna want. Oh, you don't play both sides of the plate. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's next.
And they're flooding. They're writing rhetoric. They're writing information and false academic concepts. And now there's a plurality.
Yeah.
Of all these different versions of sexuality.
Well, that, and then you got these people that are put in a position of leadership, head psychologists, teachers.
Yeah.
They're sitting back here and training you from youth how they want you to be. This is a real thing. This is a real damn thing. And if you're young or if you're mature late, if you're mentally mature and a little late, you're a little behind, you are a target. Because if you need a little more time to develop, all of a sudden they're going to sit back and say, you know what? Maybe you're not meant to be like everybody else. Maybe you were born differently.
Gross.
But that's the truth. Just because you might be an anime kid, or you might just watch TV a whole lot, you might be a little shy.
That wasn't cool.
You are a target, bro. Huh?
So that wasn't cool in the 90s.
I know.
Could not be.
But they probably on that.
But that was better than the tetherball, dude. Yes, it was.
The word "see," that's why. See, whacking balls.
Anime's not that bad. I'm not an anime guy, but it's
That now.
My point: the person that stays in the cut is quiet, is shy, is introverted. You're a target. They're gonna say, well, you know what? Maybe you're just not. Maybe you're into this other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this. What I'm trying to show you is how sin gets bolder and bolder and bolder. And this is how leadership at the time of Northern Kingdom was happening. The sin, it was getting bolder and bolder and bolder and bolder. Now it was like, if you want to go sin that sin, go up on the hill. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And as things were progressive and the wicked acts got more wicked, now they were sitting back and imposing their wickedness on people. Just like in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
If you was a straight dude walking in Sodom and Gomorrah, you was a target. You were a target because you were straight.
They're coming to your door.
That was how they was. No, they were banging on your door, right? We want in, literally and figuratively. It's the truth, right? But but it's how sin builds, and it builds, and the confidence to do what you want to do on the left-hand side continues to grow and grow and grow to the point where if you're not locked in, that can fall over. I'm just letting you know.
It's just going to my face. It's just going to me.
I get it. I'm just saying, is you going to do that? Is you going to tip over? We're like, oh no!
Yeah, you can't.
Anyway, so I'm just trying to show you how sin progressively becomes sinful, because now other people are emboldened to enforce wicked policies, versus allowing people to do as they want to do. Now it's beyond that.
It's past that.
But it's like that here, and it was like that back in the time of kings, which is why the Most High even understood this, is why he had to bring a prophet of the power and magnitude of Elijah to neutralize the negativity of the time and the age.
That's true.
For the level of negativity and the level of enforcing of negativity that was going on, there had to be a counterbalance to neutralize that level of sin that was going on. So, read verse 31.
Verse 31. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians.
So the Zidonians were later on referred to as the Phoenicians. Okay, so he says now Ahab is doubling down. Not only was he sitting back here and sitting like Jeroboam, now he's marrying a foreign nation wife. And what's going to end up happening, she's pushing and enforcing her beliefs and religion on the Jews. And this is where the shift starts to happen. Read on.
And went and served Baal and worshipped him. But he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria.
This dude built, because don't forget, Samaria was a mountain. It was a high place. So now they sat back here and set up the altars of Baal in the high place because this broad wanted it. Okay, read on.
And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Most High power of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
So he did even worse than every other king. He had Baal altars in the high places and groves in the lower places. The groves were for Astarte, was for the feminine deity. The high place was for Baal, the masculine deity. Okay? What we're going to do is read.
Do what Solomon did.
Oh yeah, exactly. And he did what Solomon did, but he was forcing people to lock in and follow it. It was a little more than that. It was the enforcement that was how he took it to the limit, and he pushed the envelope, so to speak. Let me see. I'm reading in the Bible Knowledge Commentary, Old Testament. It says Ahab ruled Israel from Samaria for 22 years. He was the worst. He was the most wicked king Israel had experienced, even worse than them before him. Ahab's wickedness consisted of perpetuating all the sins of Jeroboam. He even considered them trivial. In addition, Ahab married a pagan princess, Jezebel, who zealously tried to promote her depraved cult on as the exclusive religion of Israel. She was pushing the celebration and the serving of Baal and Astarte as the number one exclusive religion of the northern kingdom. So anybody that wasn't doing it, we're getting dealt with. Okay? Then it said, Jezebel's father, Ethbaal, was king of the Sidonians, Phoenicians, with his capital in Tyre. The Tyre, but their religion was only Ahab was not forced to marry Jezebel. His choice to marry her is something for which the writer held him responsible. Obviously, he chose to make that move. And it says, Ahab built a temple for Baal in the capital of Israel and constructed an altar for Baal in it. Asherah poles were idols carved to stimulate worship of Baal's female counterpart. Okay, so they were sitting back here. They had Baal temples and they had Astarte poles, which were in the groves on the ground. Okay,
Poles, huh?
Mm-hmm. And it says,
What do they call those maypoles? And some cultures call them maypoles.
I took a picture of it. I took a
I had a
picture
whole
of
book
it.
about it, bro.
So were these poles like totem poles, or were they just like sticks in the ground? I always wondered that. Did they have
I know the
carvings on
Romans
them,
and Greeks called them maypoles.
What were
I
they?
think they were phallic symbols.
Okay.
I think they were symbolic to phallic symbols.
So that was the aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a stick in the ground. It was a phallic.
I think it was a phallic.
Image.
I had an image.
All right.
You can look up Asherah poles, and because I don't have it, it's ASHERAH poles, and you'll probably get some images because I saw them. I think I got rid of the image on accident, and I don't have time to go into the specifics. Let me see. What it is yeah. So the groves were on the ground. That was to the female deity Astarte. The high places were for Baal. When you sit back and deal with how these nations operated, they served a masculine and a feminine deity. That's what they did. And what Ahab did more wicked than everybody else, he married a foreign woman that enforced the serving of these gods instead of serving the Most High at all. Okay? And they were forcing the people even further into idolatry versus it being their choice. That's why you read later about how one of the servants of Ahab hid 400 prophets. They hid 400 people that were about still to learn the Most High because they were targets. They were targets of Jezebel. Because she was pretty much trying to ethnically cleanse anybody that kept the law. Anybody that kept serving the Most High. This is why it was so wicked. There was a proactiveness in getting people to change and to serve these idolatry practices. So, okay, where are we at? Where are we at in 1 Kings, sir? Verse 33, right?
No, we was in we now in 34 now.
Give me 33 again, if we can.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 33. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Most High, power of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. In his days did Hiel the Bethelite, build Jericho.
Listen, Moses, listen. He says, in his day, Hiel, the Bethelite, built Jericho. He tried to build Jericho. What did Moses say about Jericho? Jericho wasn't supposed to get built again. He says that city was never supposed to get built.
It'll be done.
Remember when they sat back and blew the horn after walking 7 times around? Who said this place was never supposed to get built back up again? This is the extent of the wickedness of this particular generation. They were going above and beyond all of the scenarios that the Most High had set up. Let's go to, I think it's Joshua 6 and 26. Let me get there real quick. I think it's Joshua 6 and 26. Yeah. Read Joshua 6 and 26.
Come. Joshua chapter 6 and verse 26. And Joshua.
Matter of fact, read verse 24 down.
Come. Joshua chapter 6 and verse 24. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein. Only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and of iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Most High. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive.
Because she was the one that housed the two spies when they were checking out Jericho the first place. Read on.
And her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelleth in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to
She
spy out
submitted
Jericho.
to the Most High's order.
Mm-hmm.
It was beneficial to our nation.
Okay.
So the Most High did have
Mercy on the nations
mercy.
when they obeyed. Read on.
And Joshua adjured them at the time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Most High, that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho.
That was the point. Jericho was never supposed to get built again.
That makes sense though.
It was because it was the first of all, it was the first major victory with us crossing over into Canaan. Also, this was the first major victory. So Joshua said nobody was supposed to rebuild Jericho, and this clown Hiel was like, "Guess what, Ahab? I have a new project. Let me show you these pictures. This is the Hacienda de Jericho. This is a new city plans. It's gonna be bigger and better than ever. Trust me." I'm a real estate developer. He's a shady real estate developer, right? He's a shady real estate developer. Hiel the Bethlehemite. I have a great plan for you, Ahab. We got 3rd-story buildings. You can see all of the countryside of Samaria. Trust me, you're gonna love it.
I'm pretty sure that's how he was presented too, with the hands.
I can't say it. I'm just painting a picture of a slimy real estate guy doing deals on land you're not supposed to do on native burial ground.
I can see him doing it with the sandals.
It's crazy. But I'm just trying to paint the picture that Joshua said, listen, nobody was supposed to build on Jericho. And what ends up happening? Close the door, please. But what ends up happening? Jericho was closed. Jericho was built on. So this is another reason why the Most High was so pissed off at Ahab. They're enforcing people to break the law. They're pushing people to go against the scriptures. And they're sitting back here, they're building on cursed land. They're just tempting the Most High. They're tempting him. They're pissing him off. Does that make sense? So now, read verse 34 again in 1 Kings.
Come. In his days did Hiel the Bethelite build Jericho. He laid the foundation thereof in Abiram, his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof in his youngest son Segub, according to the word of the Most High, which he spake by Joshua the son of Nun.
So we're going to hold that and go to Josephus real quick. We're going to go to Josephus book 8, chapter 13, paragraph 1.
Come. Antiquity of the Jews, book 8, chapter 13, and paragraph 1. Now Ahab, the king of Israel, dwelt in Samaria and held the government for 22 years. He made no alteration in the conduct of the kings that were his predecessors.
So he didn't change, he didn't amend any of their sinful ways. He just kept doubling down on their conduct. Read on.
But only in such things as were of his own invention for the worse, and in his most gross wickedness. He imitated them in their wicked courses, and in their injurious behavior towards the Most High. And more especially, he imitated the transgression of Jeroboam, for he worshipped the heifers that he had made, and he contrived...
The heifers were the calves. He was worshiping the calves, which was obviously Baal worship. Okay, read on. So don't forget, you still had your Baal cow or bull that was in the land of Dan, far north. Then you had it far south, which was in Bethel. And then you had it now in Samaria, which is in the heart of the northern kingdom.
Did you ever catch those Commonwealth games that Shamshon mentioned?
No, I was completely sick. Comic book game.
The comic book
Yeah.
game.
It was the
And
worst thing.
they made the gigantic, literal gigantic,
Mechanical version.
Like
mechanical, automated mechanical ball that came out in the midst of the big ring for like the Olympic Games platform.
The Commonwealth Games.
Yeah,
It's like the fake Olympics, bro. So it's a lesser version.
A
of
lesser-
Yeah, it's like the British.
Like the Pan Am Games, something like that.
I don't know what to compare it to be honest with you.
Pan Am Games like another level up, like a lower level, like.
It was gigantic. It was like the size of a building. And they were all gathering around it and literally worshiping.
It's demonic, bro.
Yeah, it was
It's
crazy.
the worst thing ever, bro.
When this happened?
This year.
It's horrible, bro.
You take a look at it, it's the worst thing. It's the worst
Crazy.
thing.
I can see a picture of it.
Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
do.
It is. They just built a computerized version
Of the bull.
That's all it is.
It was crazy.
I know it's still bad.
The people are dancing for it and giving it crystals and lights, and it was showing emotion, and it wasn't getting worshipped. It was sick.
What country was it in?
It was the British Empire. It was it was England.
UK.
Man. Yeah, it was UK, man.
It's crazy, bro.
I seen a picture of it.
Yeah, please do. That's bad, but once again,
it's
But
like you said,
once again, it's just it's important to show the succession of wickedness, and when wickedness is given strength, how bold the wicked become once they are emboldened to become bold.
Yeah.
Once they're given the power to be bold, they are bold, and then they'll sit back here and they will push. Listen, even in the political positions, they call it liberal totalitarianism.
Yeah.
The movement of being liberal is beyond just giving myself freedom to choose these liberal approaches. And now the liberal totalitarianism is I'm liberal, now I'm going to push my liberal mentality on you.
Yeah.
It's not just I'm going to hold my approach. I'm going to hold my approach and I'm going to impose that everybody thinks this
If you
way.
disagree, you lose your bank account.
If I sit back here and don't call you him, her, then all of a sudden I'm cancel culture and I'm cut off. Listen, I can sit back here and if you want to be called whatever the hell you want to be called, cool. But I don't got to be subject to this crap. I was at the damn gas station and the person had this little pen saying him, her, or him.
oh yeah,
him, he.
the them.
Yeah,
the them,
and I'm
they,
like,
them they.
I'm like, what's up, dude? I'm not giving you this crap. I'm not giving you this crap, huh? What's up, bro?
They feed it into that.
I'm not giving you that shit.
Exactly.
Listen, if that's what you want to call yourself, you call yourself that.
I'm not playing your game, bro.
I'm not playing this damn game. Anyway, it's not just good enough that you just do what the hell you want to do. I gotta lock in and talk how you want me to talk to you. Scram, bro.
I don't know you, nigga.
That's my point.
I ain't gonna
No. I know it's catching headlines.
It's going crazy over here.
This, you gotta put it. I'm
like a
just not
barbecue
comfortable
pit over here.
with it so close. That's how it feels when Brothers Barbecue out. Now you know.
Gravity's gonna knock it over.
Brothers Barbecue. Because it's just too close to the thing, man. Then we gotta go buy another top pot. There we go. That's another one. That's barbecue time, man. That's how it feels when Brothers Barbecue. I was in the last feast, and my face was on fire. I was like, how do y'all do this every day? Is this for the sake of cooking chicken and making the Jews smile? Like it was like a fire and flame that engulfed my face. I was like,
It was
damn,
something,
it was tough. Anyway,
I should try to send it to you.
it really was. This is real work. You know, people like I had a little every kiss to cook, and they're smiling. And I'm like, this is hard damn work. This is suffering. I can sacrifice. This isn't just like I'm chilling and smiling and drinking a cold one. Anyway, this is a crazy mechanical bull out.
Worst thing.
Anyway,
They said Jamaica walked out. They said Jamaica walked out. And they came back.
Well, and the whole they all had the crystals, and they were carrying the power of it, and then at the head of it, they had a Judah sister.
Yeah.
Of course, she was the leader of the
Mother Goddess.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it was. You gotta, man.
She
You
fed
gotta
it.
watch it.
She fed it.
You said
They had the
Jamaica
bull was red.
walked
It was
out, they
angry.
came back after?
Yeah, Jamaica walked out and they came back. It's all Israel. I won't tolerate this.
Somebody stood up.
I will.
because I want to run.
How
I want to
dare
run. I want to
they?
get a medal. I So I want a medal. So forget it. We did this for 4 years.
Yeah.
But this is what's going on, huh? But all I've been trying to show this class today is how sin escalates. And when you give it power, then the boldness turns into, you have to adjust to how we do things. Not just, you do your thing, we do our thing. It goes beyond that. That's what this was 10, 15 years ago. Now you got to be part of what we're about. We're going to sit back here and squeeze you out.
What's the next 15 years going to be like?
Shit.
If there is a 15 years.
It's going to get even. It's going to get more aggressive, more.
It's not
bold.
going backwards.
It's going to get more bold. You're going to be more emboldened to tap into their life. That's the game. That's the key. And this is what sin was going on in Israel's time also. It wasn't good enough to, let me just stay in my house and serve the Most High and just keep cool. No, if you're not out here, who's not out here at this Bell ceremony? Who's not out here? I want to list of who's not here. Versus during the time of Jeroboam, come on if you want. We can burn trees and serve these guys. If you want to do your Jew thing, cool, whatever, but come on through here.
Well, don't forget, they planted that seed after the COVID epidemic. Meaning they took a list, remember, of everyone that didn't get that.
Yep. And that jab, and they started persecuting them.
That list is still there. It's with the federal government.
That's crazy,
they
bro.
still know they ain't got it.
Yeah. And they were losing their jobs, and their whole life was being flipped upside down if you just weren't locked in.
Kyrie?
Yeah, Kyrie's catching hell out.
Yeah.
Just because he promoted something on, and Amazon promotes all the time, huh?
Yeah. And what's so crazy is now they're saying Adam Silverstein, the head guy, is
Adam
saying
Silver.
he stands. Well, I call him Sting because he's one of those people.
Yeah.
He's Amalek.
Okay, he's Amalek.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But they say now he stands with Kyrie and everybody.
He says, I know he's not anti-Semitic.
Stephen A. Snitch was like, I stand with Kyrie. Like now all the guys that are attacking them, I stand with. Listen, it's a popularity game.
No, what they're saying is, you can't piss Mr. Charlie off. You got to sit back here and abide by his rules, but no, he's not anti-Semitic. He should have just still shoot basketballs and go to the hole and finish.
And still put Shaq on you, out.
Anyway, bro, done. This is all bad. This is all bad. So, where are we at? Where are we at?
We're in line 317.
In the Josephus, right?
Huh.
So listen, let's go line 317. These images are crazy now, guys. This is crazy.
It's the worst, bro. It's the worst, bro.
And they're laying down in front of it and lighting fires to it. It's crazy.
Crystal.
It's the worst.
And there's somebody on top.
That's the sister.
That's the mother. That's the Starte.
That's what I'm saying.
She
assisted
They used the Jew.
She was assistant.
Of course. Of course. Okay. Let's keep going, bro. It's bad, huh?
It says, for he worshipped the heifers that he had made, and contrived other absurd objects of worship besides those heifers.
Absurd objects of worship.
Besides the calf that they were having to serve, they brought more images. They were pushing the Starte.
They're increasing, exactly.
They were bringing Ashtaroth in. They were bringing the male and female deities. It was listen, and then what was required for the people to start serving Astarte was just higher levels of debauchery. Okay, then you would imagine they're weeping for Tammuz after that, and they're bringing all type of crazy.
We're celebrating something. We're celebrating this. We're celebrating. It's in this culture of we're just appealing to people. This is about love and light.
But then we're celebrating. But if you're not here at the celebration, we're gonna write your name down.
Exactly.
That was the exact theme at the Commonwealth Games. It was bringing in that spirit.
Love and light. It's
love.
Yeah,
like they were literally saying it over the broadcast.
It's their definition of that. Though.
Yeah, it's like we are the prophets of the next. He says, you gotta watch it. I'm sorry.
That's bad. It's a bad scenario. But what they're saying here is, if you don't come celebrate with us, we're gonna sit back here and snatch you up.
Yeah.
And if you're not with us, you're against us. And this is when the Most High had to bring a prophet of Elijah's magnitude to shake the people up. Most High had to bring a prophet of a higher stature, and he had to impose greater punishments to get Israel to wake up and listen. Because the only thing that's going to shake Israel out of their situation is the Most High creating extremes.
Yeah.
To stay them.
That's it.
That's the only thing gonna catch them.
We don't respond to extreme.
We don't respond to suggestions. We don't respond to basic talks
That's
and
me.
counsels.
And
You can give a person the answer day in and day out, but the only time they start to listen is when they lose something.
Sky's fault.
Anyway, so let's continue, sir. In the Josephus.
It says, and he contrived other absurd objects of worship besides those heifers. He also took to wife the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Tyrians, right?
Mm-hmm. Tyrians.
Tyrians and Sidonians.
So foreign influence is invading Israel.
Yeah. But they were asking for it by serving other guys in the first place, since Jeroboam. Read on.
Whose name was Jezebel, of whom he learned to worship her own gods.
So she taught him how to serve these guys. So she was really in control. He was serving her.
Yeah.
Read on.
By serving her God.
Khan.
Which is the dynamic that happens to men when they come to the truth.
Khan.
Oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, brothers, you can't do this, you can't do that. How can you love my family? How can you come to our gathering? I know it's Christmas, but you know it's my people. That's what happens.
Yep. Let's keep going.
Khan. This woman was active and bold.
I mean, she was masculine. She was proactive. She was masculine. And she was sitting back here imposing her will on Ahab and imposing her will in the nation. So pretty much she was running the damn kingdom.
Like Dwayne Wade.
Yes.
It's the same dynamic.
Wow.
Dwayne Wade and whatever her name is.
Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union. It's the same dynamic. It's the Jezebel dynamic.
This dude's whole outfit's changed that with her at.
He's the worst, bro.
Now listen, his whole mindset's changed being with her at.
She's evil, man.
I know. So listen, that bold, domineering woman, and he's somebody like,
Oh yeah. Damn Tyler Perry movie.
yeah, it is. It is. So she's bold, active, read on, and fell
into so great a degree of impurity and wickedness.
So it shows you why Ahab even went even that much further than the other kings. He didn't even have his own mind. He was following the mind of his Phoenician wife.
There you go.
And that was another reason why his sin exceeded Jeroboam's. He wasn't even his own man. Jeroboam was his own man, and he did his own damn thing. This dude was following his woman, serving, tapping into idolatry. Read on.
That she built a temple to the god of the
Tyrians, yeah.
Tyrians, which they called Belus, and planted a grove of all sorts of trees. She also appointed priests and false prophets to this god. The king also himself had many such about him, and so exceeded in madness and wickedness all the kings that went before him.
Mm-hmm.
Now it says there was now a prophet.
Now we're gonna hold off on that. We're gonna jump now to chapter 17 and verse 1.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1 reads.
Give me 1 second, and I want to make sure I know where to stop at. Yeah, we're going to read from verse 1 to 16.
Come. 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1.
And this is the entrance of Elijah the Tishbite, right?
Mm-hmm.
A stronger caliber prophet because of the depth of negative of the times.
Khan says, yep, that golden calf was the Baal idol. Yes, sis. What was you going to say, though, yet?
No, I'm just saying this is the entrance of Elijah the Tishbite.
Yes.
Because of the negativity of the times.
Exactly. So, give me verse 1, 17 and 1.
Come. And Elijah the Tishbite.
Now, the Tishbite, that city of the city Tishbite, or Tish, is in the present, what was in the present-day city of Naphtali.
Okay.
So one would think that Elijah was Naphtali, but I don't think Naphtali. I don't think Elijah was Naphtali for one reason. Later on, you're going to read in the chapter that this music is vexing me, but Elijah built a temple. I mean, built an altar. The only people that can build altars were the priests.
There you go.
So, and the Most High wouldn't sit back here and allow a prophet to sit back and build an altar unless he was Levi. So I think Elijah was Levi, because who else? Most High wouldn't allow somebody to sit back and go and build an altar unless they were a Levite. And we'll go into that proof in a second. But that's why I think, matter of fact, I think this is the verse real quick. Give me 1/2 second. I think it's in Deuteronomy. No, that's not the one yet.
So him just being in that city at the time doesn't necessarily make him that tribe.
Exactly. And we know that the Levites went down to Israel, to the southern kingdom, to maintain their serving of the Most High. But it just doesn't make sense for a Naphtaliite to sit back and build an altar to the Most High when those people weren't allowed to do that. Okay, so we know he was in the land, but for all intents and purposes, it makes more sense that he will be Levi. Okay, so verse 1 from the top again. Just want to make sure we're clear on that.
1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab.
So he went to Ahab and communicated with him. Read on.
It says, as the Most High, power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word.
So listen, he's sitting back here saying, I'm saying this in the eyes of the Most High, you're not going to have any rain nor even dew.
Wow.
Listen, without dew, the dew is what helps to feed the plants too. You're not going to have not a drip and a drop of water until I come back here and tell you there's going to be some damn water. So all of this wickedness had to be a build-up to where the Most had to do something extreme to get their attention, to whip them back into shape. Now, give me Deuteronomy 11 and 17 real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 17.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 17. And then the Most High's wrath be kindled against you.
Matter of fact, read 16.
Come. Deuteronomy 11 and 16.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
14.
Give me 13.
Come. Verse 13. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Most High your power, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and in thy wine and thine oil.
So that's how the Most High had control over us back in the day. If we did what we were supposed to do, he would sustain our crops by the rain, by the sustenance. Okay? Read on.
And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them.
He says, make sure you stay serving me and putting me first. Read on.
And then the Most High's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Most High giveth you.
He's reminding us this is what the Most High will do to keep us humble and to keep us in check. When the sin rises to a certain level, then this is how the Most High deals with us in that sin. When we sit back here and stop putting him first, and he has no choice but to take away the water, take away the rain, take away the dew. Okay? The only way we're able to sustain. So people are going to start dying off left and right because of what Ahab is allowing to happen on this earth. Yes, sir?
Now I was just making a quick thought about this. It's crazy how Elijah, he had that good relationship with the Most High in order to make these things happen. Which shows when you make the choice to follow the Most High with your all heart and all your soul, then the Most High, like how you always said, the Most High will always defend you and he'll come through. But if we don't do that, there's consequences. So it just shows the power that we can have if we just serve the Most High how He wants us to serve Him.
Because what you're going to read about Elijah, he did things no other prophet did until Christ, bro. He sat back here and brought a person back to life. He did things that nobody else could do. He was on a level. He was on a level. Now, he was through the Most High, obviously.
Yeah.
But his ability to pray, and all of a sudden, the sun is revived. We're gonna read it in a few verses. The miracles he did were comparable to Christ.
Because he was one of the two witnesses.
What do you mean? You mean in Luke when
Revelation 11:6.
No.
Huh?
The witness is a nation as a whole. We'll go into that. But no, Elijah was one of the greatest prophets and was given the most power.
Yeah, authority.
Was given a lot of power for what he did. Okay? And the miracles he did. But once again, even being these prophets, it took a lot of courage. He came to Ahab when everybody was afraid to sit back and stand up for what's right. Mm-hmm. He said, listen, man, you're not going to have any rain nor dew until I come back and tell you. So what's happening is he leaves. Let's keep going. Let's keep going in verse 2.
Come. It says, and the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, get thee hence, and turn thee eastward.
No, and hide thyself. Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It says, verse 3, get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan.
Why instead of go east and hide by the brook Cherith? There was a damn manhunt on him, huh?
That makes sense.
There was a man. You're gonna read later on. They were after this guy, huh? Listen. They were after this guy. They were after his life. To be in the position of teaching and being a prophet of doom, so to speak. You think they wanted to hear that bad news?
Nope.
Anybody that prophesied righteously, there was a target on their back. So the Moses says, get out of there and go all the way east and hide by this brook of Cherith. This brook Cherith. Read on.
And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there.
Now that's crazy. He commanded a raven to sit back here and bring you some damn meat. Ravens, that's not, he completely rewired their damn DNA.
Right.
He rewired these animals. You think a raven is gonna sit back here and they're wired to take meat for themselves and scavenge for themselves. The greatest thing is a raven is an unclean bird.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just like camels. John the Baptist, why he's wearing the camel's skin.
Yeah.
So there's some reworking there, man.
Well, and that's a great point. It's a good point about being an over-righteous.
Yeah.
If the Most High said if you're gonna bring some ravens, then you know what ravens is gonna damn be.
That's what I'm saying.
You'll get mad. Thank you. I can't eat this because an unclean bird was sent it to me. I will not break the law of the Most High.
Okay.
That's the definition of that.
Listen,
That's over-righteous. I'm not going to eat this meat because this animal ate some scavenged animal yesterday.
Even though it came from the Lord.
It's over.
It's overboard righteousness. It's over spiritual.
And pretentious, yeah.
So the Most High is like, go to this brook, hold down, and I'm going to send a raven to feed you, and you got to deal with it. Okay. Once he drops the meat, cook it and eat it. What you gonna say?
Well, I'm just saying, like, or also like us being attacked on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
And our lives being threatened. And we're
God.
thinking, I'm not going to fight.
Yeah.
On the Sabbath.
Yeah. Come on. Well, come on in.
So let them just come in. And
just kill your kids.
But you know what's crazy? That happened multiple times. It wasn't just the time of the Maccabees.
Yeah.
Y'all know that, right?
I didn't know that.
It wasn't just the time. They did it the first time the Greeks came in. They took them out.
Yeah.
Before it was the Maccabees days, because before Maccabees, listen, when you read about Alexander, right? You read about Alexander and how the Jews were cool with Alexander coming in, and they had peace with Alexander, and yada yada yada. And some of the Jews fought for Alexander. Literally in the Josephus, the next book, the next page, it talks about how during the reign of Ptolemy, Ptolemy's men came in, did the same thing. After Alexander died, Ptolemy's men came in on the Sabbath day, and took out the city, and the Jews were just in complete subjection.
And this is why Christopher Columbus came in and went directly to the core of Issachar and went straight to
That was Hernando Cortez.
Hernando Cortez.
Cortez came in and it was South America.
And went straight to their king, because not say it was a Shabbat, but it's because they know Israel is super religious. They call superstitious.
Yeah, because they were cool. Hernando Cortez was cool. They walked up to the front of every people and said, listen, I'm going to kill your king. Either y'all bow down and serve me now or this man's dead. The whole upset it was meant to be. It was cloudy today, and the cloud was ominous.
That's the stupidity of Israel, though.
Yeah.
It's that overboard religious. You don't study the scriptures and learn the spirit behind the book.
Yep.
You're sitting here caught up into the religious nature of the book.
Yep.
And just like the Pharisees, when they were arguing with Yahushua about the showbread.
Yeah.
Well, not the showbread, but Yahushua using it as an example.
Yeah. Because attacking them for picking corn on the Sabbath. Yeah.
Our people are silly.
Yes. So the Most High said, listen, man, Elijah, get out of town, go all the way east to near Jordan, to this brook, and I'll send you food. The purpose is, even that whole dynamic process, what did Elijah do leading up to that for him to trust the Most High on that level? You're just sitting back here at a brook, waiting for your meal to come up. You think it came at the same time? I'm just asking. You think that raven came at the same time as the day?
He was busy. I got things to do.
That's the scary part.
He had raven things to do. He had raven things to do. He was taking care of his
whatever the hell happened. I don't listen. When we at the zone, did the blessing come at 12 o'clock every night?
It came almost at
3 o'clock. It came when it came.
Yeah.
That's the
you
point.
Better be happy with things.
And that's really what faith is. And that's what I'm saying. What level of faith was he on at? Where he was just drinking a little water here near the brook. And whenever the meat came, it came, bro. And he was okay with it. He was where he was at on a faith level was remarkable. And for he was obviously, most I don't just throw you in a situation like this out of nowhere. He was already built up to withstand this situation. The loneliness. This guy was alone for extended periods of time. And the faith that had to be tested, the level he had to be on to even be prepared for this, he was on a high level. So, let's continue. So give me verse 4.
Oh, verse 4? Okay. It says, and it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there.
Mm-hmm.
So he went and did according unto the word of the Most High. For he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening. And he drank of the brook. And it came to
that's crazy. Was he going to trip on the fact that the bread was in his mouth? Anyway, I'm just thinking about the process of how that was delivered.
Probably the talent.
Hopefully, yes. That makes more sense. Versus immediately the saliva of the raven act.
Yeah, that's how they. You know what I'm saying? That's how they
so you gotta take out his
Yeah, I think it's the saliva. You gotta take it however the Most I give.
Raven saliva.
Let's assume what's that at?
You said like the raven saliva.
The saliva. It's just the saliva of the raven. Like it's
all over the bread.
Yeah, you like
all over the bread.
Like this. I'm just trying to visualize how the food was delivered.
It's the lowest rank.
The talents make more sense. Thank you. I couldn't see it. Because
that's how they carry the print.
Now it makes sense. I was just like I thought it was the bread was in his mouth and the meat was hanging out. I'm like, bro, you gotta cook that bread on both. You gotta fry that bread out. You gotta fry that bread, Papa. Anyway, it's cool.
They have some of the longest talents, man.
Oh yeah.
I can say it's 50.
And that's okay. That makes sense. I couldn't visualize it. I didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, that's a long distance he's bringing that food from. Anyway, so let's keep going. So Most High was providing him bread and meat in the morning and at night. Read on. And he was on the run. Don't forget, he was on the run. You're going to read later on that Ahab's assistant was like, where the hell have you been, man? I've been trying to find you. Nobody can find you in the kingdom. But let's keep going.
Verse 7. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Most High came unto him, saying.
So it got to the point where that brook that he was drinking water and surviving of, it was dried up. Now it was time for him to leave because he had no water to sustain himself. Read on.
And the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee.
So what is this verse saying? He says, now you got to go to a Gentile nation. And a Gentile woman is going to take care of you. Okay?
His faith needs to increase. In this,
well, is that and also, you know what the crazy thing is? When Israel don't want to serve, who's he raised up to serve? The nations.
Gentiles, huh?
That's the reality of things.
Okay.
I'm always talking about the nations. Listen, man. Israel was a bunch of dirtbags up north. And to properly hide you, I gotta send you out of the country. And I have a person of another nation who has enough respect for me to take care of you. So I built this person up, even when there was nobody in Israel that was going to step up and do the job. That's really what it's saying also. Nobody in Israel was willing to do it. So he sent another nation to do it.
It's so awesome.
But how about that? Read on.
Verse 10. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Most High thy power liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meat in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die.
Listen, the whole damn place was a famine. Listen, it wasn't just Israel was in famine. Tyre and Zidon was in famine also. That whole region was in famine. So listen, man.
Because of idol worship.
Because of idol worship. So this woman was like, listen, man, I'll make this little cruise. If I got a little cruise of oil, a little bread, I'll throw some together. This is it. But we're gonna sit back here and die after this. Okay? But I want you to read verse 11 again.
Okay. 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 11. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Most High thy power liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meat in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die.
You know, so she said she only had enough for her and her son. That was it for one more meal.
She had no, and she didn't have to do anything for anybody else.
But she also acknowledged that the Most High, His power was real.
Exactly.
Read verse, and she knew that she wasn't part of that.
But you asked Israel to do it, Israel was like, that's all I got.
Well, and this is when I'm going to read this in Luke. I can't split it. I can't give you what I don't have.
Yeah,
I can't give you what I ain't got.
Yeah.
Read what Elijah's response to her was in verse 13.
Verse 13. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not.
Don't worry about all that. Read on.
Yes.
Go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first.
Dude, he's like, give me the cake first, man. There ain't no cake to eat. There's just a little bit of cake. Just give me that first. Because you know what that was for her? It was a test of her what?
Faith.
Hell yeah. Give me the cake first. Just don't sweat it. Just trust me. Read on.
And bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son.
But in her head is, how is that go? I don't understand the math on this, huh?
Right.
How is there? I just told you there's only enough for me and my son.
It's like the few fish and a few loaves of bread.
That's the point. That's where it shows. This is why Christ uses Elijah with so many parallels. He's like, take this little food you have for you and your son and make me what I gotta be, and you'll have enough for you. How does she know that? Can you imagine how dire she was? And how her back was against the wall? And it's all she said. She says, we're gonna make this, we're gonna die. That's what she said.
And that was accepted.
And she knew she was gonna die.
That means other people were dying.
I know that.
That doesn't mean she was.
All my
dying.
friends were dead.
That's all her friends are gone, bro.
And this is the truth. I pushed me to the edge. All my friends are dead. And this is after we eat this, we're dead. And he says,
like
you know what?
Else.
He says, you know what? Make that for me. And the Most High's going to take care. Are you serious?
That's a hell of an act,
That I know.
Seek ye first the kingdom.
But you know, she's a
sounds
gen.
great.
But see, that sounds spiritual as hell. Get out of here. Oh, the kingdom. The kingdom. The sky, the holiness, the sky. But I got around this much food left, I got 2 tortillas left, and that's it.
Life.
And I'm about to die, and I'm about to give him my last meal, my son's last meal.
And you know she was skinny. Huh?
But you know, I ain't nobody get in front of me and my baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know that damn talk?
And mama bear.
My baby gonna get here first.
Mama bear.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see the.
You know that's how it is.
The kid had veins.
And I respect it.
The kids had veins on his head out. They were all emaciated. Out.
Yeah, and she knew.
It was bad.
And you know she knew? This is the man of the Lord. So she had enough faith to sit back and say, me and my kid will be okay if I do this. But that took significant faith that Israel don't even do.
But that shows that scripture is
Right,
real.
she was
If
a
you seek
Gentile.
ye first the kingdom, all these things that she was lacking are going to be added right back to her.
But the mechanics of that
Yeah.
and the stakes that she was at, and she ain't read a Bible verse before.
Yeah.
What Bible verse was she reading? She was in Tyre and Zidon, in the land of damn bulls and Asherah poles out, and this crazy, this wicked crazy music out, these Babylonian festivities out. The thing about where she was coming from, Mike. I'm just thinking about of those on TV, those crazy Zidonian lands where all kind of crazy music is going on, and crazy incense,
those crazy
and crazy flutes. That's what I'm saying. And it
hit the drums.
and all kind of evil going these foreign lands out, and she's making a play to serve the Most High out.
That's her last meal.
I know that. She don't. Israel got to read Bible verses for days out to make a spiritual move out. This person just said, you know what, you're a man of the Lord. Cool, I'm going to give it to you. With the stakes that she was in, that is amazing. And that's when the Most High chose her. Because Israel didn't have that kind of faith.
You know what's crazy? She had to make a decision right there.
It was on the spices. Listen, listen. Her whole life had been mounting up to that point. We're about to die, bro. There hasn't been water for months.
She's about to get out of here.
Don't forget, he was in another place and that well dried up.
Yep.
Everybody's wells was drying
Not
up.
just hers.
Everybody's places were drying up, except for her.
She had to
I mean,
make
her
that
too.
decision quick, yeah.
She had to sit back and decide, you going to sit back here and lock in or not? Because the crazy thing, what she didn't know is this. If she didn't give him the food, she was going to die. That would be her last meal.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
If she didn't give him the meal, that was going to be her last meal.
Right.
If she gave up her meal, she was going to get more meals. He that loses her life
Shall
find it. He that finds it shall lose it. But once again, you can't get Israel to do this. It was the same thing with the Greek Syrophoenician that said, you know what? If I just touch your garment, I know my daughter will sit back here and get taken care of. You just have to pray for her, and she'll be okay. He says, man, that faith ain't even in Israel, like.
Jews require signs.
They got to see it, hear it, feel it, touch it.
Know it.
Show me your man of God.
For sure. Let me put my finger through the holes.
Yeah.
Doubting Thomas. It just shows her level of faith. She just didn't sit back and obey just to obey her. She had to have faith. So, read verse 13 again.
Come. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. For thus saith the Most High, power of Israel, the barrel of meat shall not waste.
Meal.
Oh, meal, I'm sorry about that. The barrel of meal.
It must be a nasty barrel of meal. I just meat in there. It's a barrel of meal. Yes, read on.
Shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Most High sendeth rain upon the earth.
That's phenomenal. And so what the crazy thing is was her faith to trust him and to trust in the Most High was remarkable.
Regardless of her condition.
Yeah.
Because you have the idea, do I trust my condition or do I trust the Father that I can't see? It's still the invisible power. There's no getting around that.
God. I want you guys to go to Luke chapter 4, verse 24.
Luke chapter 12 and verse 24.
No, Luke 4 and 24.
Oh, Luke 4 and 24. Come.
Luke chapter 4 and verse 24.
Luke chapter 4 and verse 24.
It's what, matter of fact, I need somebody else to read. Hold that. It's that
Because
concept.
that her faith was a sacrifice.
I know that. That's
The
the
sacrifice was the act of faith.
Con. Because listen, there was no guarantee this was going to work out.
It could have just been capping out.
That's not good.
I'm
I
a
was
prophet.
capping out.
I am a prophet. You just come through.
Con. Okay.
Adam Shal Shabbatah, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yashrala.
You gotta watch your feet.
Khan.
Please.
Adam, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yashrala. I match you. Bro. Yahawah Hashem Yashabakatah.
Yahaba Shem Yahweh Shabrakatham.
All right, so let's get this thing going back again. Luke 4 and 24.
Luke 4 and 24. And he said, Verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country.
And it's the truth. No prophet is accepted in his own country. Hell, the prophet Elijah wasn't accepted in his own country. He wasn't appreciated in his own country. Okay, read on.
But I tell you of a truth, many widows were in Israel in the days of Elijah.
He says there was a lot of widows in Israel during the time of Elijah. Read on.
When the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land.
He said there was a lot of widows in Israel. How can the Most High didn't send them to an Israelite widow? Because they didn't have no faith. And they weren't willing to sit back and put it on the line. Read on.
But unto none of them was Elijah sent, save unto Sarepta, a city of Sidon, unto a woman that was a widow.
And this is what we were saying earlier. There were a lot of widows, but the Most High didn't in Israel. But the Most High didn't send them to the widows in Israel because they didn't have the faith of this woman. So when Israel doesn't show up, listen. You sit back and read it all through the scriptures. When there were no strong men in Israel, the Most High would raise up a woman to save them. When there was no faithful women in Israel, the Most High would raise up another non-Israelite woman to assist in the process. Okay? So the Most High is going to raise up who He wants to raise up. When He wants to raise up. So, let's go on. Let's go on in Kings.
1 Kings 17 and 17.
Is it 17 already?
Yeah.
No. Read verse 15.
1 Kings 17 and 15. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she, and he, and her house did eat many days. And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the crust of oil fail, according to the word of the Most High, which he spake by Elijah. And it came to pass.
Hold that real quick. Hold that real quick. Now I want to kind of go into Josephus, I'm sorry, chapter 8, the book 8. Josephus, book 8, chapter 13, paragraph 2, right? I think that's right. Yeah, let's read that. I need somebody else to do. Oh, you can do it if you want to.
Where it says there was now?
Yes. Yes.
There was now a prophet of the Most High, of Thesbon, a country in Gilead, that came to Ahab, and said to him that the Most High foretold he would not send rain nor dew in those years upon the country, but when he should appear. And when he had confirmed this by an oath, he departed into the southern parts, and made his abode by a brook, out of which he had water to drink. For as for his food, ravens brought it to him every day. But when that river was dried up for want of rain, he came to Zaphareth, a city not far from Sidon and Tyre, for it lay between them. And this at the command of the Most High, for the Most High told him that he should there find a woman who was a widow that should give him sustenance. So when he was not far off the city, he saw a woman that labored with her own hands, gathering of sticks. So the Most High informed him that this was the woman who was to give him sustenance. So he came and saluted her, and desired her to bring him some water to drink. But as she was going so to do, he called to her, and would have her to bring him a loaf of bread also. Whereupon she affirmed upon oath that she had at home nothing more than one handful of meal and a little oil, and that she was going to gather some sticks, that she might knead it and make bread for herself and her son. After which she said they must perish and be consumed by the famine, for they had nothing for themselves any longer. Thereupon he said, go on with good courage and hope for better things. And first of all, make me a little cake and bring it to me. For I foretell to thee that this vessel of meal and this crust of oil shall not fail until the Most High send rain. When the prophet had said this, she came to him and made him the before named cake, of which she had part for herself and gave the rest to her son. And to the prophet also. Nor did anything of this fall until the drought ceased.
Fail. Mm-hmm.
Fail. Nor did any of this fail.
Yep.
Until the drought. I'm sorry, I said fall. Mine says fall. Until the drought ceased.
Yeah, mine was fail. Okay.
Now Meander mentions this drought in his account of the acts of Ethbaal, king of the Tyrians.
So he's saying that this actual thing actually happened. This drought actually happened. Even in the records of the Tyrians and the Zidonians, they had a record of it. So it wasn't just some. Because everybody wants to sit back and say that these Bible scriptures, it didn't happen this way. This actual famine happened exactly where the scripture said. This is towards the end of paragraph 2. Book 8, chapter 13, paragraph 2. It talks about now Menander. Read that part again, now Menander.
Now Meander mentions this drought in his account of the acts of Ethbaal, king of the Tyrians, where he says thus: under him there was a want of rain from the month Hyperberetimus till the month of Hyperberetimus of the year following. But when he made supplications, there came great thunders. This Ethbaal built the city Botrytis in Phoenicia, and the city Azza in Libya. But these words he designed the want of rain that was in the days of Ahab, For at that time it was that Ethbaal also reigned over the Tyrians, as Meander informs us.
Exactly, because his daughter was Jezebel, and she was sitting back here pretty much running Israel through her policies and her religion. Okay? Now read on.
Now this woman of whom we spoke before, that sustained the prophet when her son was fallen into a distemper till he gave up the ghost.
Hold that. We're jumping now. Let's go to 1 Kings 17, verse 17 through 24.
1 Kings 17 and 17. And it came to pass after these things that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick. And his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him.
That means that the young man died from his sickness. Read on.
And she said unto Elijah, What have I to do with thee, O man of the Most High? Art thou come unto me to call my sin to remembrance?
He's like, did you sit back and come here so you can remind me that I sin and I'm no good? You gonna curse me by killing my son? Read on.
And to slay my son? And he said unto her, Give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft, where he abode and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto the Ancient of Days and said, O my power, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn, by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times, and cried unto the Most High, and said, O power, my Elohim, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. Okay. And the Most High heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived.
So once again, this verse still shows that Elijah was given powers that no other prophet before him had. The power to heal, the power to revive from death. Now we know Christ did that down the line, but he had the power to heal from death. The level that Elijah was on was out of this world. Okay? He prayed, the Most High adhered to his prayers and gave him the power to resuscitate this young man. Okay? Read on.
And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman said to Elijah, Now by this...
Hold on real quick. I don't mean to cut you up on this. I put this verse to be read. I just want to make sure I read it before I went there. Keep going.
And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman said to Elijah, Now by this I know that thou art a man of the Most High, and that the word of the Most High is in thy mouth is truth.
Okay. Let's go now to Josephus 8:13-3. What's that?
So that means she didn't know before. When she did.
Exactly. Well, listen. Or her understanding kept evolving the more miracles she saw. Because listen, I don't know how you can't see the miracle of the Most High when you're eating every day out of a cruse of oil that was this much, and every day I can go back and get some more oil. Don't forget that was the kind of stuff that Christ did when it was about feeding the people. And somebody having just enough fish to feed the people when there wasn't enough to do it.
On multiple occasions.
And you keep sitting back here and going back to the well and there's more fish to feed the people. Yeah. These are miracles are comparable to what Christ was doing. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. But that's where we're at. So let's go. Josephus, book 8, chapter 13, paragraph 3.
Now this woman of whom we spake before, that sustained the prophet, whom her son was fallen into a distemper till he gave up the ghost and appeared to be dead, came to the prophet weeping and beating her breasts with her hands, and sending out such expressions as her passions dictated to her, and complained to him that he had come to her to reproach her for her sins, and that on this account it was that her son was dead. But he bid her be of good cheer and deliver her son to him, for that he would deliver him again to her alive.
I'm sorry. When we read stuff like that, man, and when we hear the prophet say stuff like, in the midst of a moment like that, to say be of good cheer.
Yeah.
You know how many emotional and psychological steps you got to go through
Yeah.
to receive that information?
Or the level of trust you have to have.
That's what I mean. It's all those barriers that prevent you from experiencing that kind of stress.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? My son is dead.
Yeah.
You're telling me to be happy.
Yeah, or to be a good cheer. Well, you talking about for the person who's actually
Yeah,
suffering the
person
loss
who's
or the
suffering.
prophet?
The person who's suffering.
Yes.
Yeah, the steps
Yeah.
you gotta
But
go
we do the
through
same
to
thing in
accept it.
emergencies. We always say stay calm.
Yeah.
It's an emergency.
Yeah.
Why would you calm down in an emergency?
Right.
God. But I get what you're saying. And the thing is, he's trying to calm her down, but there's no calm until you see a positive result come in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's
I get it.
that's the process of like what faith feels like. It's letting go of that moment and grabbing on something else that you don't expect or can't see.
And most of the time, you're not gonna. Her hysterics didn't change until the boy was living again.
Right.
It ain't gonna happen. Listen, the problem is the people are never gonna stay calm. They're never gonna come back down to reality.
Right.
There's gonna be hysteria, and somebody has to be the calming force until the Most High calms people down. Remember that? And I know you know this, but the amount of times people want to kill Moses until he was able to calm down and they got some water. Or he was able to calm them down until the Most High reminded them again that you were afraid for nothing.
Yeah, and you're supposed to like the barriers of trust, like all those steps you got to go through to get to that point. It's like, so what's preventing me? It just shows, well, what's stopping me from trusting? All these little things, these emotions. You know what I mean? Just it's a good example.
Fear, the lack of control,
Yeah.
the reality that the Most High puts us all in some crippling conditions to where you can't see what's next and you have to just wait.
Yeah, those are the boundaries to faith.
And the crazy thing, the Most High has us even amongst one another, certain people that have experienced things that others haven't. And if a person has experienced something and you're walking them through it and you're calm and collective, your calm ain't fixing my hysteria. You experience XYZ ain't changing the fact that, you know what, I'm stressing out and I ain't going through what you're going through, so I'm stressing out over this situation. But it is what it is, man, and he was able to try to at least calm her down. At least, but think you gotta understand, he calmed her down, but he went crying to the Most High too. Because he had to sit back and capitulate whatever he had to do to the Most High in hopes that the Most High would revive him. He couldn't guarantee it was going to happen.
No, that's true.
Because that's what the scripture said. He wouldn't cry to the Most High. So let's keep going.
So when she had delivered her son up to him, he carried him into an upper room, where he himself lodged, and laid him down upon the bed, and cried unto the Most High, and said that the Most High had not done well, in rewarding the woman who had entertained him and sustained him by taking away her son. And he prayed that he would send again the soul of the child into him and bring him to life again. Accordingly,
It
the
takes
Most
faith alone to even ask that question.
Yeah.
To ask that, it takes belief.
Because who had done it before this?
Nobody.
Who had done that? Who had sit back and asked the Most High to revive this person and it worked?
This-
I'm pretty sure people have done it. People asked. I mean, you won't get what you asked for.
Yeah.
This is the first time that a prophet prayed for the Most High to sit back here and revive somebody, and he listened.
Wow.
Only time it could maybe pull from is maybe sun stop, moon stop.
Well, that's not life coming back into a person's body. It's a different situation.
Yeah.
Read on.
question:
Yes.
why did he do it for this woman's son and not for Job with the kids that he lost?
Not for Job. Okay. Good. Well,
I mean, he just gave Job new kids. So
Yeah.
why didn't he restore Job's sons back?
Job had to
So-
go through that whole experience.
that was
But
he listened for Job.
He prayed for his kids every day.
But Job's situation lasted a long time, bro. It was a long scenario, bro. Sometimes I would say when you read the book of Job, it shows the experience of how a man has to lose something and take the loss. I gotta take the loss and then rebuild my life. A lot of what Israel does is we lose things and we quit. We don't want to try anymore. I'm not gonna give my spirit no more. I'm not gonna study anymore. I'm not gonna sit here and trust anymore. I lost, and so you know what? I'm not gonna. Job lost everything, trusting the Most High, except for that wicked rib he had. She stayed around.
Curse the Most High and died. I love you.
I'm still with you, baby. I'm still with you in spirit.
But you need to curse him so he can die.
Everything he cared about, he lost except for this one spirit that trying to quit the Most High. But then, you know what? I gotta keep living my life. I gotta keep building up. I gotta keep. So I can't lose my integrity. He had to take the L out.
And answer your question on top of everything he said, because it was the Most High's will. We can get as deep. If you read Ezra keeps going into whys and why the Most High do this and why did you sit back here and put the nation through this and why the Most High did this and why did this. And the Most High said, listen, I'll give you the answer to that question if you can show me the image of a voice. If you can show me how much a fire weighs. And the angel kept giving him all these extreme scenarios that mankind can't quantify at all. He says, because you can't quantify these questions I'm asking you, is why I'm not giving you the answer to these questions. And this is even in the New Testament where it says, my grace is sufficient for thee. We want concrete answers to things. The Most High is not trying to give us concrete answers too. And there has to be an acceptance of that. That's why use your hand up, sir.
Khan, just on the aspect of what we're dealing with Job. So this is Job chapter 42 and verse 10.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read a little ways.
One second.
42 and 10, right?
Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You there?
Yep.
And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before.
Mm-hmm.
Then came there unto him all his brethren and all his sisters and all they that had been of his acquaintances before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning. For he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. And he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. Now I don't know how many children he started with, but the Most High said in verse 10 that he came back and blessed them with twice as much as he had. So in the end, he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. So he had more than what he started out with.
Yeah, but he loved his kids enough to pray for them habitually every day. I mean, I don't want to, if I lost my son, I don't want another son behind it. Like you're giving me a PlayStation 1 when I had a PlayStation 5. I want what I lost.
But this
I don't want a replacement.
But this is the situation.
But the replacement was better than the original kids. So remember, it said he prayed for his sons every day. And he was offering up sacrifices for his kids. Why was he doing that? Did you ever stop and ask yourself why?
Yeah, because he perceived that they may be doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. And why would the Most High kill him in the first place? Why would he murk him?
But wasn't this a test of Job's faith to begin with?
A lot of it was. But remember, the scriptures talk about how a man is going to pay for his own sins. The children ain't paying for the sins of the father. So they pay for their own sins.
Well, listen. I want to read this real quick in Isaiah.
But the scriptures say, whoever perished being innocent. The scriptures even tell you that. Whoever perished being innocent.
As the Most High's will.
But this is the point. However you dress it, the Most High said, my thoughts are not your thoughts. What your plans are, what your explanations, or what your expectations of how things are, it's not going to go down the way you expect it. Too many times, we're guilty of trying to control circumstances that were never meant for us to control. And that's the point. Whether we take the mindset of those sons and daughters were negative, and that's why he was praying for them and offering sacrifices, or They were killed as a test to Job.
Jeff,
However you take the mindset, however you take the perspective, ultimately, what was this about? It was about accepting it was the Most High's will. And whether he replaces what he took, or whether he revived this son, it was the Most High's will. And that's what ends up having to be the resolution. And a lot of times, we try to get answers, spiritual answers to things that are above our pay grade. We can all come off with the wisest perspective in the world, and whatever we have to do to create peace and to find acceptance is the proper perspective. Whatever train of thought you need to take to be humble and to maintain humility and to maintain acceptance is the mindset you have to take. But ultimately, we can't control how the Most High does things, and we're not going to get the answers we're looking for. We're not going to get the tangible why. You're just not going to get it. And this is why Ezra kept saying, show me the image of a voice. Show me how much this fire weighs. It is an endless pursuit that will drive you insane, trying to find out the exact why it had to happen this way. That's why, instead of going down that rabbit hole, it's better to accept and find a way to look at the Most High in a pure and positive light than to take your mind that other direction, because you're never going to be satisfied that direction. Yes, sis?
I just wanted to comment on that because, like everybody knows, we lost Elijah this year, and he was only 25. And the only thing that helped us get through the loss of him being taken from us is the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, when it happened and they came to me to let me know, I had all kind of questions on why it happened. Why did this happen to me? What did I do? And all of those different things. But I had to take the counsel that it wasn't so much it was me, it was a test to give me the experience to be that testimony for everyone else that may have to go through the same thing. I mean, I still struggle with him being gone, but the only thing that gets me through is this Bible and my husband, and then the body of the camp, because otherwise I would be like my family, struggling, trying to figure out why and all of these things, and going to the grave site and posting all these different things. But I understand that the only thing is I can't question what God did. I mean, I don't know if my son did something that this happened. All I can do is just accept it and use these scriptures to get through the loss of him. And I can't replace him. Yeah. I had 2 children and I'm down to 1. And I can't replace him, and I'm not trying to, but I have to accept what God did. I don't have control over what God does. Yeah. I can only accept it.
Yeah. And that what you're saying, and you have to keep your mind in that process, because to take it further just creates more tension, more sadness, and more sickness.
And negative. I got to put one scripture. Isaiah,
I got your hand up too.
Isaiah 57:1, just real fast. I went through the same type of thinking before. Listen, the Most High, listen, he's the judge, bro. He's the king of spirits. Most High says, thinkest that I love him more than me? Most High said, you love this person more than I love this person? We don't love our children, much we love them, our ribs, our children, our family, more than the Most High do. Let's read right here.
Isaiah 57:1. The righteous perisheth.
The righteous perisheth, right? Read on.
And no man layeth it to heart.
And some people don't consider it. Some people just say it's another day. Some people like this, some people don't. Some people think about it. But read on.
And merciful men are taken away.
And there's good men that have to go for whatever reason. Read.
None considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come.
None considering that in the eyes of the Most High, the righteous are doing, or what?
Taken away.
Taken away means they had to perish, die, lose life, right? From the evil what?
From the evil to come.
From the evil to come. If it be the Most High's will, he takes away, but it doesn't always mean it's the situation of this person's the wicked, and this is a wicked judgment, and the dogs are licking the blood, and the person getting torn to pieces in hell. That's not always the case. The Most High said people don't consider and think that this is how the Most High processes things. That this person is taken away from the wicked to come. It is be the Most High's will. I don't want this person to go through this situation. We lost Brother Ashar. We lost Brother Ashar a couple years back. Brother Ashar was pretty on point. Pretty on point man, was a righteous man. He wasn't sitting here sinning and breaking laws and being wicked. And we lost him. Good man. I've known the man for years. And this man was not on anything wicked. But you know what? The scripture says the righteous are also taken away from the wicked to come. It be the Most High's will. So whether it be this sister's son, if it be a righteous brother in the camp that's no longer here, the Most High has His way. Therefore, we have to do everything while we're alive to live righteously and live compassionately amongst each other, so that we have no.
While we have time.
People think that they're here forever and that they just take life for granted. Well, you can't take life for granted and watch TV all day, sleep all day, scroll all day. You better tune and tax yourself with service for the sake of showing the Most High. I'm here for you, and if I have to go, I'm going to you. It's supposed to show us the impermanence of life, that it's not permanent. So we're supposed to be grateful.
On your point, that point, remember when the Most High said there were three kings that were great in His eyes. It was David, Hezekiah, and Josiah, right? How did Josiah die? Does anybody remember?
I think it was war, right?
He died in war with the Egyptians, and it was very premature. Why did Moses take him out? Was he a wicked man? Moses said he was only 3 kings that were ever righteous. Why did Moses take him out so quick?
Evil to come, like the scripture just said.
Evil was coming within another generation. The next generation after him was the fall of Israel. So Moses says, I got to get this guy out of here. So, because the end is here. Jerusalem has to fall. So it's a reminder, off of what you said, that the evil that was coming probably would have been too much for that person. It's just another way to accept what you can't control. Because however we want to paint it, you can't control it. And we as individuals have to fight to stop trying to control things in our life.
True.
We're servants. We do the work of the Most High. We do the best we can with the amount of information and understanding that's provided to us. And we have to live with the results. We have to live with the results and the choices we make as husbands, as fathers, as wives, as parents, as brothers and sisters. You do the best you can with what you got, and you pray every day that the Most High understands, and that you pray for mercy, and you ask the Most High to have mercy on all of your choices and all you got is the intention behind your decisions. That's all you got. We lay down, all we got is how many scriptures do we know on the topic, and what is our intention in sharing the information provided to us. And that's it. And is that it? And can I lay down my head at night and say I did everything I could today for the Most High? And then tomorrow can I say the same thing? And can I be at peace with that process?
What?
I have a scripture, man, but you want to kill.
The sister had a question?
It wasn't a question, it was a statement, and you touched on it, so I don't mean anything.
It's all good.
But, it's not just the wicked that perish, is what I was going to say. And, because it reminded me of the scripture that talks about, like, how God had said, Jesus had said, you rejoice for those who go and cry for those who come into the world. So that just lets you know that it's just not also that the wicked that perish. Good people perish,
Okay.
And then the whole thing about Job was going through a test. It was through Satan, that he God allowed Satan to put all those different things in his life, take away different things. So I really don't feel that they were like his sons died because of wickedness or something.
And either way, whether they were or not, it's still a reminder whether if they weren't. What I do for the Most High the next day can't change. And what each and every one of us have to fight and guard with their utmost will is their outlook towards the Most High. Because if you lose a pure outlook towards the Most High, you have nothing left.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can follow all the damn laws, and you can be lawman, lawwoman. If you can't see the Most High in a pure light, you're nothing.
Like if you're seeing,
Because we're gonna go into a class on Monday about vanity and the mentality behind a vain person. And when you get to the core of that vain person, or you get into the core of vanity, you're dealing with negative motivations and the intentions of a person being left and not pure and honorable. And we're going to go into Solomon, and we're going to go into all the good that he did, and we're going to kind of dissect it scripturally and find out how a lot of the things he did was in the wrong mindset, and it was the wrong motivation behind it. And this was why the Most High said his heart was not pure towards me. And this is why the Most High said David's heart was like a man of his own, was after a man after his own heart, because his intention and his motivation was always pure. David sinned, he made mistakes, but his heart was never deviated from his outlook towards the Most High. And that is so important if we want to maintain our opportunity to get salvation. Yeah, we want to strive for perfection in the law, but really the outlook towards the Heavenly Father, it can't be tainted, because that's what the Most High is looking at us. How pure is our intention? Has our motivations changed? Are we at peace with our lot in life and the conditions the Most High's got us in? If we can't stay at peace with our condition and the lot the Most High gave us, and you know, all the physical outward shit don't even matter. So whatever blows we're taking, whatever losses we're experiencing, we have an obligation and a responsibility to maintain a positive outlook towards our Creator, the Heavenly Father, and the circumstances that He's got us all in, because the Scripture does say He hasn't given us anything we can't handle. And that we have to believe that, because if we don't believe that, now we're a victim. Now the Most High is not fair. Now the Most High is not fair and just. And then that's when you start going into scriptures in, I think, Jeremiah, where it says the Most High's ways aren't equal. Mm-hmm. Then you start going on a downward slide. When you start telling the Most High his ways aren't equal, now the grass is greener on the other side. Why is my life this way and this person's life isn't? Then you're out of pocket.
Why should I continue serving you?
Exactly. Because that's where the thought ends up going. Why should I keep doing this? Because you're not equal anyway. What's that?
It's a little bit of 11.
Yeah, it's 11, and then you start to pine away.
And the Bible says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous."
Yep.
We can't deny that.
Yes.
It's a part of this path.
And listen, another one. Listen, the rain hits the righteous and the wicked.
Exactly.
We all have to face it. So these are just realities, and I'm glad you asked that question, Adam. But the Most High used everybody's situation for different purposes and reasons. You know what I mean? This woman's faith, whatever the Most High felt she was going through, He felt that child was worthy of being revived. Whereas the hundreds of thousands of other children who were children of widows weren't. And that was the will of the Heavenly Father. Okay? So,
I got just, not to take it
no, you're good.
off topic, but I agree with everything that's being said, but we also have to remember that a lot of times we read the Bible and we look through it like everybody in the Bible was righteous. Mm-hmm. We look through it through a righteous lens. Mm-hmm. And that's a misconception, mm-hmm. because like you was bringing up Solomon. Solomon went off, but Solomon also had wicked children. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of prophets, a lot of kings in the Bible that had children that was off. Mm-hmm. So we can't assume that just because we got the Bible, we got the book, even our children, if they grew up in it, we just assume that they're just going to be righteous. That's not the case.
True.
The Most High does evil and He does good. And this is, I found the scripture I was looking for. It's in Job chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perish being innocent, mm-hmm. or were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same." It even tells you that in the New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Whatsoever a man sow, he shall also reap.
Yep.
So we can't be naive and think, oh, everybody's righteous. No. A lot of these people, they were innocent, and the Most High took them to spur them for things that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, they was just wicked, and the Most High murdered them.
God. Yeah. It goes both ways.
So understand.
But the thing is, it goes both ways. But it still goes back to every day I got to sit back and find a way to look at the Most High in a pure light.
True, and what we do is to be for mercy, because listen, bro, that's my check. Ain't no man sinless. Christ said, if you've sinned, if you've not sinned, cast the first stone, and nobody could do
Because
it.
there's certain people, because if you just stick to that mindset, then there's a lot more people that are sinning worse than other people that don't get killed.
But live forever.
Because that's the other mindset.
That's the problem.
You got 50 Cent running around here being a nigga every
Smiling
single
every
day
day.
of the week.
Always
He's
smiling.
smiling. He got gold on his neck. He got houses. He got
had a good
land.
time.
He's smiling. And because that's the other side that goes to it. Well, like, well, shit. Okay. Listen, I got children too. If I got a son who passes, I'm going to sit back here. My mind can go into, well, damn. I see a lot of dudes slanging dope, shooting people, going crazy.
Now T.I.'s son acting a fool. Huh?
Wow, that's
He's doing okay.
There are guys who do
He's
more
all right.
wickedness and exceed the wickedness of my kid.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I still have to find a way to look at the Most High in a pure light. Because I can still sit back and say, yeah, this person's actions might have caused, his actions obviously caused what happened. But there's a lot of people the Most High has a lot more mercy on than mine. And I have to fight my tail off to keep fighting and pushing and serving him. So I gotta find some spiritual closure to it. And sometimes that mindset might not be enough for every person. So everything everybody's saying is right, but everything everybody's saying is right, whether it's the person who sinned has to get punished, or the person, most I took a person a little earlier who was doing righteous, it's all right. But I got to find a way to be at peace with my situation. And I got to look myself in the mirror every day, and I got to give the next day.
Yeah.
I got to find a reason to give and try.
I have to serve anyway.
I got to find a reason to give after I lost something. Every day I got to give. And I got to find a good reason for me to give. And I learn this every day, even in my position. Everybody's reason's different. And this is why counsel is so important. I can counsel a person until I'm blue in the face. And then another person will tell that person a counsel that's similar in different words. And the light bulb just hits. Because everybody needs to hear their reason in their way. Because ultimately, we all have to get up in the morning and serve the Most High with gladness and joyfulness of heart. Because if I don't do this with gladness and joyfulness of heart, I'm in danger of not making the kingdom. And I know for me, when I'm sitting back here battling something, I have to keep gathering as many positive perspectives as I can, as frequently as I can. Because when we're sitting back here dealing with spirits and issues and fighting, you might use some scriptures to clear your mind now, and then guess in another day or two, guess what happens? That flood comes in again. I got to keep using more scriptures, more concepts to keep bringing peace to my situation. If not, you're going to keep being attacked and plagued until you find enough reason and peace to move on. Anyway, so everything that's being brought out, it's a great way to look at it. And everybody has to use these concepts they got to use to find their peace. So they can keep doing this, extending for the Most High. Yes, I.
All right, one scripture.
Okay.
I have like 5, but I'll
Thank you, bro.
I'll skip them all and I'll do one, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It's Psalm 73 and 26. It says,
let's everybody get it. 73 and 26.
It says, my flesh, which is your physical ability, your power, my physical capabilities, my flesh and my heart, meaning my mind, the faculties of your mind, the power of your intellect, how you consider. My flesh and my heart faileth. Meaning it would fail me if I put my dependence primarily on how I see things and how I can comprehend and understand those things, the things that happen around me. My flesh and my heart faileth, but the Most High is the strength of my heart. Meaning the Most High is the power of my mind, my decision making. It's not my own understanding. It's He is the governing force and the power behind how I look at things, my perspective and my intellect, and how I consider. And how I consider how things are being handled, etc. I just wanted to...
Well, once again, and with that being said, it's about how can I take these scriptures, how can I take these stories, how can I take these different circumstances, these different ways of looking at the same thing to find peace of mind in the Most High. Because we just explained 3 or 4 different ways of looking at the same thing. And neither answer is wrong. But what matters is, can I sit back here and be at peace with the circumstance after reading whatever scriptures I'm reading? Can I be at peace with it? That's ultimately the point. And I've learned that from different people that I teach. You know what? A person I might be able to give an answer to a question, but that answer ain't enough for a person. Another person can bring a different scripture, a different way of, different lens of looking at it, and all of a sudden, clarity is brought out. And I just have to accept, hey, everybody has a different way to look at it, but as long as the end result is positive, and and their outlook towards the Heavenly Father doesn't waver, you know we got to roll with that. What you gonna say?
I gotta pull 2 Corinthians 6:3 through 9 or 10, half of 10.
2 Corinthians, chapter what?
Chapter 6, verse 3.
2 Corinthians 6:3. Giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed.
Read on.
But in all things, approving ourselves
as servants or ministers. Read.
As the ministers of the Most High.
Read on.
In much patience.
So there's situations that require much patience. Not some patience, much patience. It's not a cakewalk. Read.
In afflictions.
In afflictions. I'm not unscathed. Read on.
In necessities.
I'm not sitting here it's strictly abundance and prosperity. Read.
In distresses.
It's not only security and peace and there's no issues, no problems. Everything's going to work out at all times. No shakiness. Read on. In stripes. I'm only going to get good results. Read on. In imprisonments. I'm going to always be free and just get to do my thing and travel where I want to go and do what I want to do. I'm not subject to anything, any suffering whatsoever. That's for everybody else but me. Read. In tumults. In tumults. Read on. In labors. I get to set my own pace. Read. In watchings. In fastings. By pureness. By what? By pureness. These things are only quenched. These scenarios that we can't control are only quenched and neutralized by pureness. Read. By knowledge. It's only quenched by studying and getting the information into your head and processing it with counsel. Read. By long suffering. And by going through the process. You can get all the scriptures you want and not be as pure as you want to be. It still takes a long time to get through it. You can have the answers.
Sometimes it takes most of the time it takes a long time to even get to attain the pureness.
Exactly. Read on. By kindness. And listen, at the same time.
And the kindness, like we've read over time, is the fact that another person doesn't give up on the other person. Mm-hmm. Kindness is the fact that, because even when you read, I think it was Nehemiah chapter 9, kindness was the fact that the Most High never gave up on Israel. Mm-hmm. Through all the ups and downs, the kindness that he might have turned his back periodically, but he came back. He came back to him. Even right now with Elijah, Israel was going into straight self-destruction. The Most High had enough love to bring Elijah, to raise him up, to show these people that what they're going into was nonsense. We'll keep going.
Well, by the Holy Spirit. Discipline, read. By love unfeigned. Sincerity, passion, read. By the word of truth. Scriptures. By the power of the Most High. Application of scriptures, the Most High comes through when you, like the cruise. This lady gave up the last cake she had to this prophet and see the Most High come through in his word. Read.
By the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left.
By the armor of righteousness, I'm sitting here and I'm focusing my mind on maintaining my balance. I'm not losing my balance and I'm walking. I'm deviating off the path because of what happens to me. Read.
By honor and dishonor. By evil report and good report.
Situations you can't control. Read.
As deceivers and yet true.
Read on.
As unknown and yet well known. As dying and behold, we live. As chastened and not killed.
We go through situations that might be our fault or might not be our fault. We gotta go through them and maintain a pure biblical perspective. Read.
As sorrowful yet always rejoicing. As poor yet making many rich. As having nothing and yet possessing all things.
We can't let the physical external condition determine our faith, and we can't let our personal situation determine our faith. The things on the outside can't determine your belief in the Most High, and things going on in your personal life can't determine your belief in the Most High. Everything's a tool to challenge your faith, and he gives no man or woman more than they can what? Handle. That's it. That's what I want to bring up.
Okay, so let's get back into Josephus. And
4.
I don't think we finished 3, to be honest with you. Sustain him by taking away her son, and prayed that he would send again the soul of the child into him. You got that? It says, and bring him to life again. Then accordingly is the next sentence. It's towards the end of paragraph 3.
Line 327.
Accordingly, the Most High.
Yes.
Child, and bring him to life again. Accordingly, the Most High took pity on the mother and was willing to gratify the prophet, that he might not seem to have come to her to do her a mischief. And the child, beyond all expectation, came to life again. So the mother returned the prophet thanks, and said she was then clearly satisfied that the Most High did converse with him.
So, without a shadow of a doubt, she knew the Most High was with him, and the Most High was real. Okay, now let's go to 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 1 through 15. Then we're going to eventually go to Josephus 8, 13, and 4. Okay.
1 Kings 18 and what? I'm sorry.
1 Kings 18 and 1.
18 and 1. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Most High came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, shew thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth.
Now we know it was eventually 3.5 years because Christ said it in Luke. We just read it earlier. So now the Most High is like, listen, it's time to leave Tyre, and I want you to go show yourself to Ahab, because it's about that time I'm going to send this rain. Listen, first of all, this was the only way to get Ahab's attention. Ahab and Jezebel were rolling so hard, he had to sit back and completely strip and break the nation down to its lowest point just to get them to listen. This is what the Most High does to us. He breaks us down to our lowest common denominator when we're not listening. This is what he used to give us a wake-up call, to shake us up, so to speak. Okay, read on.
And Elijah went to shew himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house.
Obadiah wasn't a prophet. This Obadiah wasn't the prophet. This Obadiah was a leader, or his number 2 in the kingdom. Okay, read on.
Now Obadiah feared the Most High greatly.
Okay, so this man was locked into the Most High.
I'm sorry, what Obadiah did you say?
This is not Obadiah the prophet. That's what I'm saying.
The Old Testament prophet.
This is not. This is not Obadiah. Chapter 1. He was the number 2 of Ahab in his kingdom. Okay, so read on.
For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Most High, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water.
Now, depending on different readings and writings, they'll say these 100 prophets are just people who were learned the Most High. But we'll take it as face value as prophets. But these were men who were trying to serve the Most High. And Obadiah, knowing that there was a manhunt on people serving the Most High, because we read earlier about Jezebel and how her way, she was imposing people to follow Ashtaroth and Baal. So Obadiah was conscious of the fact that there was a push to break anybody that believed in the Most High in the Northern Kingdom. He took 100 people that was about serving the Most High and hit them, split them in 50s in caves, and was still able to find enough food to sustain them. Food was scarce, and he must have took money out of his food out of his own mouth, and he fought and scavenged for resources to sustain 50 men or 100 men in 2 different caves during this entire time. So this man was putting in legitimate work and putting his life at risk. He was the number 2 to the king and put his life on the risk for the Most High. Read on.
And Ahab said unto Obadiah, Go into the land, unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts.
So a lot of the damn beasts were dying. He said, we gotta go and scavenge and get all the damn water we can. We're about to lose all of our damn animals. Things were bad. You gotta understand, even in Jerusalem had they didn't have Jerusalem. They weren't around Jerusalem. But yeah, point is this: there was no water. They had to scour the countryside just for the littlest water to sustain their animals. Read on.
So they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself.
Now, why did they sit back here and go alone? They were trying to make sure panic wasn't happening. They just said, I'm gonna go this way, you go this way, we're gonna have to find and scour some water. You can tell that the people were already panicking. There was already a heightened level of stress. There was no water around, animals were dying, people were dying, there was no food. Listen, stakes was higher.
Stakes is really high.
Stakes was higher. We gotta get some damn water, or everything's gonna fall.
Oh my God.
So read on.
It's a hell of a time, bro.
Huh?
Really think about how bad it was out.
Bro, there's no water, right?
It's a really bad. We can't conceptualize it because
I know.
We're always around water.
There's a tap. You just cut the water off.
Brother, that's scary.
I think people know when that water gets cut off, the whole world changes out when the water gets cut off.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, let's keep going.
And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah?
Mm-hmm.
And he answered him, I am. Go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, What have I sinned, that thou wouldest deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me? In the Most High thy power liveth. There is no nation or kingdom, whether my Lord hath not sent to seek thee. And when they said, He is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation, that they found thee not.
So what he's saying is this. He says, and he said, What have I sinned, that thou wouldest deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me? He's like, listen, you're telling me you're going to go see Ahab. You're setting me up. Nobody knows where you're at. You're telling me you're going to get right back and check him out. But you're going to leave, bro. You're going to go back to wherever you was hiding at. And I'm going to sit back here and get Ahab all hyped up saying, hey, he's coming tomorrow. And you ain't going to come tomorrow. You're going to kill me. He's like, don't set me up like this,
That's
B.
Scary thing.
He's like, don't set me up, bro. You know the whole, listen, the last time Elijah talked to Ahab, he said, listen, man, listen, there ain't going to be no water, B. There ain't going to be no dew until I come back. And he's like, now you're saying you're going to come back? And now you're not? He's like, bro, I'm dead. I'm a dead man. So read on.
And now thou sayest, Go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here.
Now you want me to tell him that you're coming? Read on.
And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Most High shall carry thee whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I thy servant fear the Most High from my youth.
So that's why he's afraid. He's like, man, listen, if I tell him you're coming and you don't come, I'm dead, man. He said, I believe in the Most High. I know the Most High will take you away, because he also knows that everybody's trying to get him. Everybody's looking for Elijah, and nobody can find him. Read on.
Was it not told, my Lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Most High?
So once again, Jezebel wasn't just establishing inquisition on people. She was killing anybody that was believing in the Most High. And there wasn't a lot of people believing in the Most High in the Northern Kingdom. So the small amount of people trying to change, they were getting killed. Yes, sir?
I think it's pretty amazing that if they couldn't find Elijah, you gotta think that they had trackers. They had people that really knew what they were doing and how to find them. And the fact that they couldn't find them, man, it's just another miracle of the Most High.
It was the grace of the Most High.
That's amazing.
It was the grace. Listen, but the Most High was letting a lot of these prophets get killed. They were killing prophets left and right. Read on.
Was it not told, my Lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Most High? How I hid 100 men of Yahweh's prophets by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water?
Why is he saying this? He's saying this to say, man, I believe, man. Please don't set me up like this, Elijah. Don't tell me you're coming and you don't come. I believe. I'm trying to do right. Read on.
And now thou sayest, go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah said, as the Most High of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel?
Listen, look at how negative Ahab was, huh? Read verse 17 again.
And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel?
You're the one that's bringing all this sin to Israel? Like what? You're a maniac. You still were full of pride. You sitting back here thirsty as hell saying, man, Elijah's jacking up the game for everybody. Huh? It's all Elijah's fault. He couldn't see it was him.
You know what it was? It's that spirit. You can act like this is a whole class by itself. This is the spirit. This is one of the best way to paint the spirit of non-accountability.
This guy can't see
You're
himself.
not accountable for this. You see, you're the king. Everybody like praise the king. God save the king. And then a couple years later, everything's messed up like Biden now.
Yeah.
Everybody living bad.
Always Biden.
Everybody, I gotta throw him in there.
Always go back to Joe Biden.
Everybody can't get no gas.
Gas is high as hell.
Money ain't really worth what it used to be worth.
Yeah, inflation's off the chain.
And you try
Brand's $4.
And you talk to him about it, he's like, it's not me. That's Putin's fault. Why are you looking at me?
Trump's fault.
He keeps pointing the
It
finger.
was Trump's. Now it's Putin's fault.
Yeah, it's Putin's fault now. But so it's like this guy, this King Ahab, right? Ahab, of course, right?
Ahab.
No accountability.
He's like, well, here you are. The guy with the troublemaker.
Yeah.
The troublemaker's here. Like, what? You didn't see that you were sinning and breaking laws and marrying foreign ribs and all this craziness and killing Israelites that want to serve the Most High? You can't see that at all?
He was the jerk. He's the jerk.
That detached? God, huh? Read on.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel. But
No.
Okay.
This is Elijah answer. Yeah, read on.
And he answered, I have not troubled
He
Israel.
said, I didn't trouble Israel. Read on.
But thou and thy father's house, and that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Most High, and thou hast followed Baalim.
He said, this was you. First of all, the boldness.
That's a bastard.
The boldness to even do this. Remember, we read like 2 weeks ago how King Asa, the prophet, told Asa he messed up.
Yeah.
And he said, man, this was you, bro. You sat back here and took the safe route and didn't operate in faith and wisdom. And this is why you don't have continual wars forever.
Yeah.
What did Asa say? You gotta put some cuffs on this nigga. You gotta put some bracelets. You gotta put some bracelets on this dude. Put this dude in jail. It was a dangerous job, and you didn't know what the king was gonna do when you went and gave him bad news, huh? So the boldness in Elijah said, "Listen, man, this was you. This is all your damn fault."
To his face.
To his face.
In front of his court.
In front of the people. This is you, son. You did this.
That's a
all these people are hungry and thirsty because of you.
You know, they kind of look at the king like a little side.
They're like this. They ain't supposed to move their head. You know, like those English guards, they sit here and don't move it like this. Hell yeah, they're pissed off.
Everybody's animals dying. They pets dying.
Their families dying.
Families,
There's not a lot
kids,
enough food to
everything.
go around. 3.5 years of no food and water. That's 3 harvests gone.
3 harvests deep.
And there's no. Listen. And you know everything is sand.
Yeah.
Everything is sand, bro. You walking in sand everywhere. It's all because that's what happens when there's no growth.
You're right.
There's just sand. You know, my backyard's that way now. It's weeds and sand. I'm like, I ain't been putting no attention to this damn thing. Point is, that's what happens. Especially when someone is really hot. Man, you know, it's sand, bro. It's sand. 3.5 years of no water or dew.
Everybody's dusty.
Golly, everything's dusty. Animals is like stick figures, like if they're still living.
It's mass death.
Yes, it's death everywhere. And listen, Elijah, this is you, bro. You broke the law of the Most High. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Don't put that shit on me, bro.
The clouds was passing by. They didn't give no rain.
There wasn't no clouds.
Listen, he said it was his whole family.
I know. It was your generations, my G.
Oh, wow. All your people.
Exactly, because if it was before him. We just read it. It was Omri. It was Omri. That's all you dudes, huh? It was a bunch of bozos.
And then that sand, you know, it's pretty much glass, so it reflects the heat. So it just reflects the heat back.
It's Dust Bowl, huh?
You talking about the dead people on the ground? You talking about the stench?
Well, they probably buried them, but still.
They probably had strength to bury all them people. Like,
listen.
You want no disease popping up? It's already bad.
You making a bad situation worse, huh? And there's no water to wash your ass. I'll tell you that much. You're in trouble.
yeah, right.
Everybody's funky, huh?
Funky. Ain't no trees growing. Ain't a lot of oxygen.
Nothing.
No shade.
It's like on the east side of every city in the United States. You know, you go to the hood. It's always like
It's
10
good,
degrees
right?
hotter out.
Yes.
I swear to you, even
No
in California. I'm from California, bro. We went to the east side to play ball. It's fucking hot.
Yeah.
You go to the east side of town. It's always breezier. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's always 10 degrees cooler. Like, what the hell's
Got
going on?
trees.
Yeah, I know.
Ain't no trees in the hood.
Thank you. I don't give a shit what hood you're in. I was in St. Louis, and we had a tournament years ago near St. Louis Stadium, Busch Stadium. I'm like, why is it so goddamn hot over here? It was super hot where we were playing in St. Louis.
It's out there, like, it's concrete.
It was all heat. It was fire. Anyway, I just remember this certain city. We were in Memphis in the hood. It was hot as hell because we just had a whole southern tour. Everywhere it was black neighborhoods. I was sweating like a damn pig. Anyway, that's just an experience. But what are we saying? Elijah's like, listen, bro, this is your fault, Ahab. You got to eat this. So let's keep going. Verse 19.
19. Now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves of 400.
So once again, you got the prophets of Baal and the prophets of the groves of Astarte. All the female prophets, prophetesses, or the prophets of the goddess and the prophets of the male deity and the female deity. We gonna all show up, and we gonna deal in Mount Carmel.
Were these totals, or these are just estimates? Or I mean, like these a total amount of prophets?
I can't say it was the total amount. He just said, give me the 450 of the Baal prophets and the 400 prophets of the groves. The prophets of the groves was dealing with Astarte, okay, when they were in those Asherah poles. So read on.
Which eat at Jezebel's table.
So this exactly. So first of all, for even Ahab to accept the deal, he was desperate. Listen, he didn't sit back and say, the water's coming. He's dangling. Before you get that water, bring these prophets over here. We're going to see something. And he had no choice. Yeah. Yep. Read on.
Verse 20.
That's funny. That's true.
That's a funny statement. Well, let's keep going.
In verse 20.
Yeah.
So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel.
Why was this moment so important? Because until this time, the nation had to see whose God was greatest. Listen, the entire nation was saturated with negative, with sin, with negative. It was saturated. And the only way to break this influence was to sit back and show a sign of so much power to break these people's impression of or their negative outlook towards the Most High. Because obviously the nation as a whole stopped listen, there was no opportunity for people to serve the Most High in the Northern Kingdom at this time. So this is why the Most High, I got to sit back and save them now. Because they have no shot without me bringing a Savior to the people at this time. So now 450 Baal prophets, 400 Astarte prophets. Let's go to Mount Carmel. We're going to see who the Most High is with. And what we're about to show is why I said that Elijah was probably Levi. Because he was able to sit back here and offer an offering. And only Levi can offer the offering on the altar. Okay? Naphtali couldn't do that. So, read on.
And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long shall ye be between two opinions?
And listen, that's a question we got to ask now. He's telling the people, how long are you going to be between two opinions? Read on.
If the Most High be Yahweh, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him.
He's like, make a choice. Stop playing the middle. Stop playing the middle. Make a choice. Be hot or cold. Anything else in the middle, the Most High is going to spew you out. This is the level of accountability he's been trying to draw in our head the whole time. If you're with the Most High, take the good and the bad. If you're riding with Baal, take the good and the bad. Make a choice. But what Israel wants to do is pick the side that benefits them. So I can keep switching hats, switching sides, as long as it benefits me. Read on.
And the people answered him not a word.
They didn't say nothing. You know why? Because they were going to continue to sit back and play both sides. Yep. The Jews needed a what? A sign.
There you go.
They needed a sign to justify them picking the Most High. Read on.
Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Most High. But Baal's prophets are 450 men.
Now listen, what this is showing is that you don't read about the 400 prophets of the groves. They must not have showed up. The only prophets that showed up were the 450 Baal prophets. Okay? Read on.
Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it into pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under.
So we're going to sit back here and do a taste test, man. We're going to see, is it Coke or Pepsi?
Yeah.
We're going to sit back and do a taste
Which
test.
one is it?
Which one is it? Is it Coke or Pepsi? Is it going to be Baal or the Most High?
Yeah.
We're going to see what it's up. Remember in the 80s, the taste test act? This is what the Most High is saying, huh? Is it Coke or Pepsi? Is it me? Is it the Most High or Baal? We're going to have 2 bullocks. We're going to build an altar, each one of us. We're not going to put no fire on it. But he says, listen, you pick the bullock. He's like, the Baal prophets, you pick the one you want.
That's Coke and Shasta.
Huh?
That's Coke and Shasta.
I don't remember those. Coke and Shasta. I don't remember that one. Shasta? That's hilarious. Shasta? That's straight 80s. Shasta? I don't even think they're in business anymore. Shasta?
That was like the welfare soda.
Yes.
Shasta. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if it was in the South or the Midwest. Y'all remember Delaware Punch?
Yes.
That was fire! What happened to Delaware Punch?
Yeah.
Was that cheap soda too? I don't remember.
I never heard of that one.
Delaware Punch was fire.
Yeah, it's cheap soda too.
Well, all soda's cheap, but listen. Delaware Punch hits.
We had Vest,
Vest?
Vest in St. Louis.
I've never heard of Vest.
Vest soda.
What the heck? That's crazy, because Delaware Punch was a West Coast thing. I didn't know if it made it too far. That's crazy, The thing the poison we were introduced to. And we're proud of our poison. Anyway, let me stop being stupid, man. But okay, so Elijah's like, okay, 450 dudes, pick your bullock. We're gonna both set up altars, no fire around at all. Read on. Matter of fact, I want to pull this verse. I finally got to it. Joshua 13 and 18. Joshua 13 and 18. I just wanted to make sure I explain why I think it's Levi. Why I think Elijah is Levi and not like a 9.5 triber. Joshua 13 and 14.
Joshua 13 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
Only unto the tribe of Levi he gave none inheritance. The sacrifices of the Most High of Israel made by fire are their inheritance, as he said unto them.
So listen, the Levites were the only ones who could sacrifice, make any sacrifices unto fire, and that's why I'm gonna say Elijah's Levi. I can't prove it 1,000%, but listen, Most High's not gonna send somebody like this, do this altar, make this offering on an altar, and he not be Levi. I just can't see that. That makes sense?
That makes sense.
All right, so read on.
And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call upon the name of Yahweh.
So we're gonna sit back and do this taste test. Who's gonna respond? Whose God is gonna respond? This is where Elijah starts to get really bold. He's got the entire northern kingdom pretty much looking at Mount Carmel, watching the spectacle, seeing what's happening. Read on.
And the power that answereth by fire, let him be God.
Mm-hmm.
And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken.
Yeah, okay. Listen, niggas want to see all kind of chaos. Let me see what's up. And Jake want to see some controversy out. Yeah. They want to see an argument.
They like it.
They want to see some heated tension situation. Yeah. Jake loves that out. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah. They said that those secrets about when with Moses' time, people had the strong speeches. Israel just loves those.
Yeah. And they love those situations. The battle of this side. They get to see it. Oh man, Jake's going crazy.
I'm sorry. I had a real world example, man. I was in New Jersey and I was out there, and they put me in charge of like this quote unquote religious meeting spokesperson. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, what's your last name? It's like, yeah, man, you want to be in charge of it? All right. So this guy comes up. And he's like a Christian pastor in the civilian world. He's like, hey, me and you should Bible study together. And I was like, no, you know what? I don't think that may not work out potentially. I said it in a certain way. Man, when I said that, I'm telling people started coming to the snack area. They started coming to the snack area. Then he said, why? Our brother literally got some popcorn. Sat back and just started snacking.
Yeah,
this is hilarious. The brother knew.
Yeah, I want to see it.
He's like, yeah.
I've been waiting for this.
And the popcorn's falling off their face like this.
I'm not even kidding, man.
Listen, when I was in high school with the same thing, me and this apostolic young brother, he was a preacher as a sophomore in high school. And me and him used to go at it at lunch hour. Niggas would just go just to sit back. Oh, he got him! He got him, son! They would just come just to see an argument.
Right.
It wasn't about the Bible. They didn't give a shit about righteousness and who was right. They just wanted to see somebody get clowned out. Yeah. It's like going to a rap battle. You just go to a rap battle and just, oh, he got him. Oh.
What you gonna say now?
How you gonna respond? Yeah. He's talking about your mama. That's what it is. Listen, that's all this is. They want to go to the controversy. Anyway,
that's our people. That's how you know this is not the
these like Edomite guys that are sitting back here bowing against the wind. That's bullshit. That's corny, nothing to do with them, man.
That's not them, man.
It's not them, man. So listen, and Elijah is feeding it out. He's talking loud. He's like, man, you picked the bull out. You set the terms. Just no fire, son. Just no fire. Read on.
And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you one bullock for yourselves, and dress it first, for ye are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under.
Exactly. Dress it how you want to dress it. Kill him. Put it on deck and see what it do. Read on.
And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon.
6 hours, no, listen, 4 hours at least. They're sitting back here. Bill. Bill. They going crazy praying to this damn clown, Read on.
saying, "Oh, Baal, hear us." But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made.
Can you imagine them jumping? You goddamn altar! You got to get. They stomping on the altar. They going crazy,
They finna die.
They're stomping on altars. They're breaking altars, They're angry, This is for hours, And everybody's like, "Boo this man!
Throw tomatoes.
Boo this man!" They would if there wasn't a famine. They throw tomatoes and lettuce and shit at. They're like this. They're like, "Boo, this is whack. This is boring. It's 6 hours, These guys are doing their little damn monkey dance,
Sweating, man.
I know. So they're jumping on the altar. They're vexed. They're angry.
They had no food or water, not energy.
They got some energy for some negative, like Israel is. They'll muster energy for some sin. That's the facts. Read on.
And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said,
"Now Elijah's clowning that. Now I'm gonna start clowning that." Listen, Elijah was cold. This dude had the power of Christ, Most High behind the mic, and was flexing now. Read on.
Then Elijah mocked them and said, "Cry aloud, for he is a God."
Like he says, "Listen, pray louder. Pray louder to your God. He's a God, right?" Read on.
Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey.
Maybe your God is talking to somebody in Mount Atlantis up in Greece somewhere. Maybe he's in Atlantis right now, or whatever. Where was that day where the Greek gods are?
Olympus.
Maybe he's in Mount Olympus talking to the other guys. Maybe he's in a business meeting.
He's busy.
He's busy. He's doing something. He's talking, or he's pursuing. Maybe he's somewhere across the country.
Hey, you got a one-way out.
Yeah, you got a one-way out.
Hey, you got one way.
Oh my goodness.
You get that busy signal out. You wasn't getting through out.
That's the point. That's what he's saying. He's like, maybe he's busy somewhere. He's clowning out. You know everybody's laughing. The people are laughing at these guys out. He's mocking them out. He's mocking these 450 clowns. They're stomping on their altar. They're vexed. They're angry. Read on.
Or pre-adventure, he's sleeping.
Wait, listen. He's in a dream. He's sleeping. Maybe he's napping out. Maybe he doesn't like take blessings and prayers when he's sleeping. Maybe he only gets the blessings when he's awake. Read on.
It must be awakened.
Actually, you gotta wake him up, or he won't hear it. Maybe he's just sleeping in today. Get a late night out. Maybe you got a late night. He partied out. He was on a bender, and now he got a hangover. Maybe that's why he's not listening now.
I'm coming.
I'm done. Not now. No. Swipe right. This is stupid. Maybe your guy's swiping right. That's crazy. Read on.
And they cried aloud.
He's not listening to him. We gotta cry louder. Maybe they say, "Listen, he can't hear us." They're actually doing what he said.
This is 450.
450 clowns yelling and praying and loud. Now that they were in unison. They were in unison and they were all locked in. They going 450 deep.
The crowd.
And the crowd was watching like this is garbage. I threw my life away for this shit. I'm throwing my life away for this bullshit. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And he's edging on the crowd. Listen, Elijah's MC. He's moving the crowd right now. MC means moving the crowd. That's first MC. Come on. He's moving the crowd.
The getting moved.
That's the truth.
And they cried aloud and cut themselves.
Now they start cutting themselves. I do this crazy sacrifice. Like, I need blood. He needs my blood. We all cut ourselves, and they're all cutting blood, and they're making them bleed their own blood out.
It's getting bad.
They keep going further and further. In their head, that's what these sacrifices require.
This is a show now.
Yeah, it is a shit show. You should have just said a shit show. Yeah. But he doesn't, because in their head, I gotta give a blood sacrifice for Mike, because he's not listening to us. So they're cutting themselves with blades and lancets.
They have spirits on them,
It's
suicide,
Yeah, read on.
And cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out upon
They're
them.
in some arteries, bro. They're in some carotid arteries.
This is suicide.
I know they're gushing blood out. It's not like a little blood. They're gushing blood.
Yeah.
That too.
Arteries.
They're hitting arteries, huh? Read on now. They're yelling and they're bleeding and blood is everywhere. I go like those anime shows. Like, this is crazy, huh?
Hey, people still do this though. Huh?
Yeah.
They call them cutters.
Yeah.
That's how you know they got spirits on them.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. So they're gushing and bleeding, not going crazy. Read on.
And it came to pass, when midday was past.
Midday's like 3, bro. It's got to be like 3 p.m. You've been at this since 6 a.m.
No food, no water.
6 a.m., you're bleeding, you're yelling, you got a headache. You know your head's on fire, right? You're dizzy.
Exhausted.
They're dizzy, they're tired. their balance and equilibrium's all messed up because they lost a
I
couple
don't think it
pints
was any
out.
lunch. I don't think it was any lunch.
They done lost a couple pints. I don't know if anybody's took plasma out. You don't feel 100% after you take some plasma out. They done lost more than the regular amount of plasma that's taken out at one time. So you know they're dizzy, they're lightheaded, they're still yelling, the pressure is on. Read on.
And it came to pass, when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice.
Well, listen. They were going midday into the evening sacrifice. It was about to be sundown.
Come on.
These guys are going crazy. Oh, that's like almost 12 hours, man.
Wasting people's time, huh?
Bleeding and passing out. Read on.
That there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded.
Feel like it wasn't working. Read on.
And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of the Most High that was broken down.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes.
So what verse 30 is this was an altar that had been previously broken down that they're rebuilding. He let them do all their stuff first.
Right.
Now he's building an altar at a location in Mount Carmel that was previously broken down, and now he's building an altar on that spot. And that was his turn.
He let him do it thoroughly also.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna let you go and do everything you gotta do. It's almost sundown for the evening sacrifice, and we're gonna burn this on. We're gonna burn this bullock for our evening sacrifice. Read on.
And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Most High came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Most High, and he made a trench about the altar.
He made a trench around it. So the trench he dug underground under this altar. Okay, so he made a deeper level on it. Read on.
And he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed.
Can't give you that measurement. I'm not sure what that is, but it's deep enough for 2 measures of seed. Read on.
And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice, and on the wood.
So he says, I want you to put this 4 buckets of water on the animal and the wood, so everybody knows that I'm not nigger rigging this. That's why I put the water on there. So everybody knows I'm not putting some special sparkly firewood on there, or it's not some incendiary fire going on already.
No trickery.
There's no trickery. There's no hucks. We're going to put a whole bunch of water on the animal and the wood.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt.
So there's no doubt. So when this happens, you know it was purely the Most High, and it wasn't me that made this happen. Read on.
Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, do it the third time. And they did it the third time.
Mm-hmm.
And the water ran round the altar. And he filled the trench also with water.
He said, I'm gonna fill the trench with water. There's gonna be water under it, on top of it. The wood is completely saturated. The meat is fully saturated with water, and there's water under it. It's soaked. This whole thing is full of water. Okay? Read on.
And it came
That's
to,
a lot of waste of water if you ain't gonna have no rain come right after this.
Yeah.
But this is gonna work. So the whole thing was filled with water. Read on.
And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, O power of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known that this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O power, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the power, Yahweh, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Most High fell, and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench.
That's crazy. All the water in the trench soaked up. Everything burnt up immediately. That's amazing. Read on.
And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces. And they said, O power, he is the God. And the power, he is the Most High.
You know what all the Greeks seek a son, or the Greeks seek after wisdom. The Jews require a son. We got to see some fire coming from heaven for us to wake up and take things serious. We need something traumatic in our life to push us back into the Most High. Exactly. It wasn't good enough that the Most High was the God of our forefathers. And that's it. That's all it really should be. This was the God of our forefathers. The nations stayed true to their identity, their heritage, their history. You got these Edomites sitting back here. I ride or die with our forefathers, our founding fathers, doing this U.S. Constitution.
Right or wrong?
Right or wrong. Oh, listen, we're gonna ride off the ark of the Constitution. You know, I have the right, my God-given right by these laws to have my guns, freedom of speech. They live their entire life off of their code. We sit back here and say, listen, man, these laws are your birthright. I don't know, man. Why has it got to be this way? Why can't I do it a different way? The nations can sit back here and listen, you got China and Ishmael, the rest of these nations, they're ride or die with their Allah shit, their Muslim stuff out. That's their birthright. We just can't follow our birthright. Our birthright isn't good enough. The Most High, Yahweh, is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That should be enough for us. But we got to see fire out the sky to stop following Baal. Anyway, continue.
And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook of Kishon, and slew them there.
Hell yeah. So now the Jews are willing to fight out. Freedom! Now they want to kill Babylon gods and prophets and take them down, or Baal gods and prophets. Read on.
And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain.
He says, man, listen, get yourself something to eat. The rain's about to come. Get yourself together. Read on.
So Ahab went up to eat and to drink. And Elijah went up to Mount Carmel. And he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees.
Now listen, he went to Mount Carmel. He went to the top of Mount Carmel and then went and prayed. He went to his knees and prayed. Read on.
And said to his servant, go up now.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
I got a verse I want to pull. Let me see. Read Amos chapter 9 verse 3.
Amos 9 and 3. And though they hid themselves.
Let everybody get it. So once again, what's happening is this miracle happens. The Most High sends fire from heaven to consume this offering. Now the people are confident to choose the Most High over Baal. What's crazy, Ahab still didn't sit back here and acknowledge he was wrong. There was no acknowledgement. There was no ownership of his issue.
He looked stupid. He looked really stupid.
He looked really dumb. He was about optics and it
backfired. You let everybody
down.
In the wrong hole.
You know, the crazy thing is the people didn't look past just killing the prophets. They didn't want to sit back here and even hold the king accountable. So instead of going through all that, all Elijah did was went to the top of Carmel. And the top of Carmel was a very secluded place. A place where he can get himself away from the masses to reconnect himself from the Most High. Reconnect yourself with the Most High. So give me Amos 9 and 3.
9 and 3. And now they hid themselves in the top of Carmel.
This is explaining that the idea of hiding yourself at the top of Carmel was a real thing. And this is what prophets did. This is what people did to find seclusion, to get away from everybody and get away from everything. Okay? You know?
I will search and take them out thence.
The crazy thing is that a lot of times that seclusion is needed to get clear, to reset yourself. Even from the time when Solomon was anointed king, Samuel sat back here and brought him amongst the prophets first. And the prophets stayed in seclusion. They didn't stay connected to the people very much. The prophets were away meditating, praying, staying strong. Right after that situation, he went right to the Most High and prayed and thanked him for coming through for him. Because as many miracles that flowed through Elijah, he knew where his bread was buttered. He knew where it came from. So after that miracle, he went right back to the Most High, got in the fetal position. He said, cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees. That's a fetal position. And acknowledge the Most High and praise the Most High for the miracle that just got done. Because he knew that could have possibly saved hundreds of people, thousands of people, by that miracle that he showed. Those miracles was the show and sign that the Most High loved his people and was going to defend them against the idolatry and the negative of the people. So read Amos 9 and 3 again.
And though they hid themselves in and though they hid themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them.
Just trying to show you that Mount Carmel was a secluded place, and he got himself away from all the masses and all the chaos and all the murdering. They were killing those prophets. He went right up. He told Ahab the order that the water's coming, the rain's coming, and he went to send prayers to the Most High. And then he gave, you're going to read about the instructions he gave his apprentice. Read on.
And 4. And though they go into captivity before their enemies.
I'm sorry, where are we at?
Amos 9 and 4.
No, we're going to let Amos go. We're going to go back to 1 Kings. That was my fault. 1 Kings chapter 18. Now, whoa, I'm so behind on this writing. We're 18 and 43, right?
43 now.
We're going to go to 43 through 46, and we're going to read some Josephus, and it's getting late. So let's keep going.
1 Kings 18 and 43. And said to his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up, and looked, and said, there is nothing. And he said, go again 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, that he said, behold. So
listen, that servant locked in. Did he sit back and say, why I got to keep going? Why I got to go 7 times? Why can't I just go once? He had to just lock in and follow and go do your job and do the mindless work and responsibility of going back to this spot 7 times. That's a lot of work, bro. You're going uphill 7 times. Downhill, uphill 7 times.
Isn't that water? You want to keep that water?
You want this rain much in that?
It's worth that walk. We were out the point.
Okay. But listen, he said go to the sea. I don't know how long a walk that is, Zach. You got to walk from the tip of this Mount Carmel, this quiet, silent place, to the ocean. But keep going,
And he went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And he said, go again 7 times.
It's a lot of walking, bro. But yeah.
And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, behold, there arise a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand.
Is it a little cloud?
I love this description.
A little cloud of the sea, like a man's hand. I don't think there's a little cloud cluster, right?
Finally got a cloud. We finally got a cloud.
Well, listen, it didn't look like nothing. But out of a little to nothing comes out a lot of things. This small cloud cluster, like the size of a man's hand. You could see it after that 7th time of walking back and forth.
I thought it was the shape of a man's hand.
No, it was a little cloud. It was a little cloud like a man's hand. Read on.
And he said, go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot, and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not.
Hey, listen, I you know what? I can't give you breath and width. It could be bigger than that. But if it says like a man's hand, maybe it's the shape of a man's hand, or maybe it's the size of a man's hand. I'm not sure. So read verse 45 again.
And it came to pass in the meanwhile.
Well, first of all, he told Ahab, he said, prepare your chariot and don't stop, so this rain don't stop. So get back, because they were in Mount Carmel. He says, get back now to Samaria before this rain and the storm shuts you down. Read on.
And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel.
Now he went to Jezreel. Hold on a second. 5:27. I have a page here for some reason. Okay. It said rains normally came from the west off the Mediterranean Sea. So Elijah instructed his servant to look up in that direction. The Most High answered Elijah's petition as he persevered in prayer. At first, the rain cloud was small, like a man's hand. But soon the whole sky grew black and heavy rain descended. The torrent evidently overtook Ahab as he rode in his chariot to Jezreel, his winter capital, about midway between Mount Carmel and Sinai. So it was his winter house. It was a city where he lived in the wintertime. Is where he was stopping because he didn't have time to get all the way to Samaria to beat the weather. Okay. A lot. Now we're gonna keep reading. We're gonna read in verse 46.
And the hand of the Most High was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins, and he ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel.
What the hell was going on with Elijah that he outran Ahab's chariots out?
Damn.
He said, and the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins. I mean, he got his sprinter legs on. I don't know what the hell going on, and he ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. He outstrided him out, and it was Ahab and his chariots.
He outran horses.
Huh?
He outran horses.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he outran horses out.
Girded up his loins.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he put in cereals he got in his legs out. He got him like Usain Bolt out here.
That's degrading. Usain Bolt.
He's the best guy.
He's a beast.
No horse out.
I know this, but listen, that is the best we can explain. Yeah. Y'all must somebody say Asahel. What does that even mean to people? Asahel was that fast too. I'm trying to give the public an idea of a fast person.
100 times faster than you, son.
Maybe. But listen, I can see he's as fast as Asahel. And they like, who the hell is that? Because Asahel was fast too. He's running around horses too.
1,000 times.
It just doesn't hit the same way.
1,000 times.
At least you say, okay, that boy faster. He starts a little slow, but he be getting it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But you can see where Esau gets their mythology from.
Yeah.
Because even with the Flash,
yeah,
you can see this is where they got.
This is some Flash stuff.
This is the Flash, right?
Yes,
here, bro.
this is Flash stuff. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And I know it goes into Greek mythology and all that, but this is where they got it from.
But we're the ones who did the Greek mythology like idiots. We took Bible stories. We took the history of the scriptures. We took. I'll never forget, there was, during all our captivities, we still had the verbal history of the Jews. Then we took Assyrian beliefs, we took Babylonian beliefs, we wrapped it into one, and now we got some Greek mythology. Hell yeah, that was us. We sat back and took all these stories and just put different names to it. That was us though. We created this BS religion in the Greek mythology. So come on, no doubt about it. Whether it's him or it was Asahel or anybody else who had godlike speed. What the hell was going on where outran the chariots of Ahab in the rain, in the storm?
That's resistance.
In the storm with the wind
and resistance
and mud.
I just remember too. That's
You know, tennis shoes.
No, listen. How can you run it? Listen, I don't know what shoes you had. It couldn't have been sandals. How you gonna go that fast in sandals?
He ain't got memory foams.
You ain't got no. Listen, how you gonna get that fast in sandals? And you every step, you mushing down. This is all sand.
The cleats.
You ain't got no. You ain't got no football. You ain't got no turf cleats. You ain't got no grip. Huh? You just pushing. The horses got hooves. It's amazing, huh? So read verse 46 again for me, sir.
Verse 46. 18 and 46?
Yep.
Sloppy. Oh, really, though. And the hand of the Most High was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel.
So listen, don't forget, and we just read it. I read it. It was talking about, it says Elijah overtook him running the approximate 25 miles with divinely given energy. 5 damn miles, because from Carmel to Jezreel was 25 miles, bro.
Oh my God.
That's insane, What the hell's going on,
Listen,
Listen, he's been sitting here eating cornmeal and a slab of meat for like 3.5 years. He ain't running. And all of a sudden you got the wind and the strength to go 25 big ones. Sprint. Full stride. Full technique. You extending, you reaching, you scraping. Your form got to be legit to do that too, You can't be doing all this hop along shit.
Run like Mel Gibson.
But it says he had the hand of the Most High.
There's no doubt about it. I just don't know how. This is a miracle. This is a damn miracle.
It's a Quicksilver. They can only remake this stuff in IC. What do you call it?
I don't know. I don't know how the hell they can remake this.
No, special effects.
Yeah. Kind of. I don't get it. This is amazing stuff. Let me see. I want to read this real quick, and it's Matthew Henry's commentary. We ain't gonna do it too much. It's almost 2:00. I want to go to page 389. This deals with kind of the servants of Baal and what was happening with them when the Most High was working through Elijah to show the miracle in Mount Carmel. It says the prophets of Baal try first, but in vain, with their God. Elijah allows it to them, gives them the lead for their greater confusion. How importunate and noisy the prophets of Baal were in their applications to him. They got their sacrifices ready, and they cried as one man, and with all their might. O Baal, hear us. O Baal, answer us. How senseless, how brutish were they in their addresses to Baal? Like fools, they leaped upon the altar, as if they would themselves become sacrifices with their bullock. That was why they jumped on the altar. They were offering themselves to get burnt up.
They wanted human sacrifice.
That's what they thought. They leaped up and down to please their deity. Like madmen, they cut themselves in pieces with knives and lancets for vexation that they were not answered, or in a sort of prophetic fury, hoping to obtain the favor of their God by offering to him their own blood. The Most High expressly forbade his worshippers to cut themselves. Deuteronomy 14:1. How sharp Elijah was upon them. He stood by them and patiently heard them for so many hours praying to an idol. Yet, with secret indignation and disdain, and at noon bantered them. Cry aloud, for he is a God, and goodly God that cannot be made to hear without all this clamor. We like talk louder. Baal's prophets were so far from being convinced and put to shame by the just reproach Elijah cast upon them, that it made them more violent and led them to act more ridiculously. You see. I think we got the point of it, man. We got the point, but I don't think going into it anymore is any more needed. I'm trying to think, maybe do we go into the Josephus and re-explain it, or do we let it go? Let me see.
That's kind of amazing to witness.
We're gonna jump to paragraph 6 in the Josephus, 8, 13, and 6. We don't gotta reread the whole thing. I think that the point was explained properly. We'll read paragraph 6 and probably shut it down.
If you break down too, like the meaning of like loins, it's the area of the hip. It's the muscles and tendons and ligaments attached to it. So the Most High girds up your loins, meaning everything that controls your motion of movement.
I need my loins girds up, and my hips be giving me problems. Shit.
He fortified them also so they would withstand that kind of
25 miles, hell yeah. A 25-mile sprint?
And he literally went into those ligaments and vessels and just empowered them, like jolted them.
He gave them a brother. Kinda. Let's get paragraph 6, and we're gonna finish up for the day.
Paragraph 6. Now when the Israelites saw this, they fell down upon the ground and worshipped one God.
So this is one after they saw the miracle in Mount Carmel. Then they want to serve the Most High and worship. Read on.
And called him the great and the only true power. But they called the others mere prophets, and at the command of Elijah slew them. Elijah also said to the king that he should go to dinner without any further concern, for that in a little time he would see the Most High send them rain. Accordingly, Ahab went his way. But Elijah went up to the highest top of Mount Carmel, and sat down upon the ground, and leaned his head upon his knees, and bade his servant go up to a certain elevated place, and look towards the sea. And when he should see a cloud rising anywhere, he should give him notice of it. For till that time the air had been clear.
So what was also, this gives clarity, he didn't have to go all the way down to the sea. He just says go to a place where you can see the sea. Okay, that makes more sense. Read on.
When the servant had gone up, and had said many times that he saw nothing, at the 7th time of his going up, he said that he saw a small black thing in the sky, not larger than a man's foot.
So it was smaller. Read on.
When Elijah heard that, he said to Ahab, and desired him to go away to the city before the rain came down. For he came to the city of Jezreel, and in a little time the air was all obscured and covered with clouds, and a vehement storm of wind came upon the earth, and with it a great deal of rain. And the prophet was under a divine fury, and ran along with the king's chariot until Jezreel, a city of Issachar.
Issachar. Issachar is Issachar.
Issachar.
So he ran all the way to Jezreel, the city of Issachar. We're going to leave it at that. We'll go on to what happens with Jezebel next week. Are there any questions? All right. Say my prayers. Amajim, Upanya, Yirah Shalom. Eyes and face the east. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please listen to us right now. Send Mike out and the righteous angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the people of Yasharallah. Also send unto us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, and much love, spiritual power, and forgive all of our sins. Yahweh Shai, come quickly, for in thee is our hope, always and forever. Amen. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Hahawa'ah. Nithon Lanawa. Hathawara.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah. Nathan Lanawa. Awar. Lava'ah.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
Okay. Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah. Nathan Lanawa. Ha'ayah. Kwara. La Kwara. Ha'ay.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people. Amen.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah. Nathan Lanawa. Shaman. Zayat. Lamashak. Yashral.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Okay. Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
And to sing praises unto thy name.
And to sing praises unto thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
And thy faithfulness every night.
And thy faithfulness every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the psaltery.
Upon the harp.
Upon the harp.
With the solemn sounds.
With the solemn sounds.
For thou Yahweh.
For thou Yahweh.
Hast made me glad through thy work.
Has made me glad through thy works.
I will triumph.
I will triumph
in the works of thy hands.
in the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
How great are thy works.
How great are thy works.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
Neither does the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring is the grass.
When the wicked spring is the grass.
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
When all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
But thou Yahweh.
But thou Yahweh.
Art most high forevermore.
Art most high forevermore.
For lo thine enemies.
For lo thine enemies.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo thine enemies.
For lo thine enemies.
Shall perish.
Shall perish.
All the workers of iniquity.
All the workers of iniquity.
Shall be scattered.
Shall be scattered.
But my horn shalt thou exalt.
But my horn shalt thou exalt.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
I shall be anointed.
I shall be anointed.
With fresh oil.
With fresh oil.
Mine eye also shall see.
Mine eye also shall see.
My desire.
My desire.
On my enemies.
On my enemies.
And my ears shall hear.
And my ears shall hear.
My desire.
My desire.
Of the wicked.
Of the wicked.
That rise up against me.
Rise up against me.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
Shall flourish in the courts of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that the Lord is upright.
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
There is no unrighteousness in him.
And there is no unrighteousness in him.
Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Psalms 133. Shayar.
Shayar.
Hama'ayawa. La Duad. Hana. Ma. Tawab. Wama. La Ayam. Shabbat. Akyab. Gam. Yachad. Hashaman. Hatawab. Ayo. Hara'ash. Yarad. Ayo. Hazakwan. Zakwan. Haran. Shayarad. Ayo. Haya. Manawat Yawan. Qatar. Karamwan, Shayarat, Ayam, Haroya, Tazayawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawah, Yahweh, Baraka, Kayayam, Halbalam, Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded blessing, even life forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Rachlew, Ba'ashrali, Babiath, support, turn. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Rachlew, Ba'ashrali, Babiath, support, turn. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Rachlew, Ba'ashrali, Babiath, support. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Rachlew, Ba'ashrali, Babiath, support. Barak Thay Hawah.
Barak Thay Hawah.
Barak Thay Hawah Shot.
Barak Thay Hawah.
Barak Thay Hawah. Barak Thay Hawah Shot.
Barak Thay Hawah Shot.
All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all love, all patience, all mercy, all power is from Yahweh. All power is from Yahweh. All power is from Yahweh. By Hashem, Yahushua, the water, Amyat, the month. Circle up.
Circle up. Saluting out the heavenly order. Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wokel Sha'ala, Mem Israel. Much. Rup.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Baruch
Kum Yashab.
Kum Yashab.
Kum Yashab.
Kum Yashab.
Kum Yashab.
Kum Yashab.
Top. Turn your face, sisters.
Yes.
Sisters, please stand.
About to mess up.
Slide.
No, I know. I was about to mess up. I'm good.
Saluting out the daughters of Zion. Mem Israel. Amaj. Barak.
Yahweh Shema Elohim Hashem Yahushua.
Yes, what's up? Dismissed. Fall out. Shalom Israel. See y'all on Monday, all right? Y'all take care.